I have like 4 back-to-back meetings starting soon. Have fun, yawn.
Man, yo, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the VOD. Hello, Cobalt. Thank you for the resub. I appreciate that, man. Thanks, dude. Good luck in your meetings, whatever that is gonna entail. Good morning, guys. Hello. Yes, it is time. We're back. So, update. I finally got new watercolor board for the trading cards. Update 2, that bitch is hard to cut. My god, I gotta get like a bandsaw or something for it, but we'll talk about that today. We got trading card stuff to do. Today is gonna be an important lore day, so I know we haven't done a deep concept art day in a while, so I think that today is gonna be the return of that. Maybe some of the ancient stream viewers like Thorkin and Cobalt will remember deep concept art days, but we're going to be going on there because I'm also going to be trying to use today to do something very silly. I'm going to attempt today. Hold up. I'm going to attempt today to record a video. That's right. I'm going to attempt to record a full video to go on YouTube. Proper, not just a short. I'm going to attempt to record a full proper discussion on runes and lore and concept. Is going to be kind of a different, interesting type of video, and I'll talk about what I wanted to get out of that and what the theory or plan is. I need to make like a list. I need to get better organized today. Hold on. I need my pen and my paper. That's the thing that is the most important item for me right now for organization. So I'm gonna snatch that real quick. Grab a pen. And get. Alright. I need to make notes for the. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, I forgot that was in the back of this. That's embarrassing. Oh well. What's up, Brooklyn? What's going on, dude? So yeah, we're gonna try and make a video today because I have a goal for that. Let me make a note real quick here. Art that you like.
Hello, check on. It's been so long since I've seen you.
God damn it.
Have you been well? Oh,
bro.
Never mind.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Uh-huh. Yep. Oh shit. Who told Steele they were funny this morning? That was a mistake, man. Certainly wasn't me. I don't know. I know how that shit happens. What's up, Steele? What's going on, bro? How you doing? So yes, gonna make a video today. I'm gonna make a pretty important video. Because a couple reasons. One, I need to start cataloging the realms in a non-stream way. That's one thing. The second is I need to start doing and doing the thing when it comes to YouTube videos and really taking the advice of the big YouTube creators that say make 100 shitty videos first. And three, I really want to get into the YouTube partner program and I need 2,000 watch hours more views before February. And I think I could get that in probably a week if I created a couple of real videos because that's all stream watch hours. So yeah, man. Actually, I don't know if those are stream watch hours or if those are VOD only. I don't know. Yeah, I want to catalog it, Thorkin. You see, here's the thing. I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been thinking about trying to make YouTube videos and stuff. And let me tell you where my head is at. And you guys let me know if this sounds crazy or if it sounds like I'm on the right path here. So when it comes to a lot of things that are like, I resent the idea that some people, some artists, other artists, you've seen them sometimes in chat saying such things, suggest that I'm focused on being a content creator, and I really don't like that term. I really don't like it. Because for me, I consider my main important things to be the art and the project and things like that. I consider myself a cataloging game developer or something, if not just a straight up artist. I don't consider myself a content creator. I consider this the stuff that people consider to be content creation, which again, it's such a stupid word. It doesn't mean anything. Like streaming and making videos, I consider that to be part of the process of recording and cataloging. It's like, what's the intent? And so I've been thinking about making YouTube videos, and I really don't want to make YouTube videos that people don't give a shit about, right? Like, there's a whole thing about stream projects and YouTube videos, and like, there's a whole ethos people get stuck in, I think, sometimes worrying about what the masses are going to want, you know? Oh my God, I got to make a video about, you know, how to draw in 5 minutes or less, or else no one will watch my YouTube channel. And fair enough, no one will, because that's the way the algorithm works. But I've had a real consideration recently that the things that I want out of my career are in some ways antithetical to an algorithm, right? And there's two things that are in the recent my recent thoughts and experiences that have me really thinking about this in a deep way. Sometimes it's hard to have the courage to go do something that you know is not going to be that popular when you have the opportunity to do something that's going to be popular, right? Like, if I wanted to, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, Evan, you must hit 100,000 followers on Instagram next year, I know what I would do. And I could do it daily and I could get there. But I would much rather be a smaller creator like I am at 25,000 followers on Instagram, of people that actually care about the stuff that I care about. Which I think that most people who follow me on Instagram or in Twitch and whatever, and you guys that have, you know, long-term sub badges and shit, expect out of the things that I'm doing. You guys aren't here for Critical Role fan art or anime booba. You guys are here for hopefully the kind of stuff that I'm excited about, good fantasy stories and adventures, D&D, things like that, which is cool. And I think that I need to consistently be keeping that as my sort of my direction. So two things that happened recently, plus a third kind of mini thing. The first thing is I had a really great conversation with two amazing humans at a paint supply airbrush store, actually, in Edmonton, Alberta, before
we hitting the mainstream. Going to the show?
Oh shit, what's up, Penguin? Thanks for tier 2, dog. Bro, wait, Penguin, I need to show you something. Bro, you're gonna be proud of this. No one's gonna care about this besides you, Penguin, and you probably don't care. That. All right. Give me a sec. Give me an interlude here. A brief pause in the seriosity. I went out and I splurged on a new stick. All right. Yep. I did. My favorite defenseman in the NHL, Cale Makar. I thought good enough for Cale, good enough for me. So I secured and landed my very own Bauer Pulse. Look at that, man. Look at that. Composite carbon fiber. Oh shit, got the knob on there? Oh shit, man. That's right, new twig day. Uh-huh. Yep. Oh, that tape job's a little bit. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. We'll you know, we'll get a new one and taper up again in the postseason. All right. New Bauer, man. You know? And then Ella got the glow in the dark Bauer. Look at that. Look at that. She pulled that out of a rando, dog. And we got these entirely so we can play ball with Yuna. So we played a little shinny with the puppy yesterday, and it was awesome. So if you have a dog and you don't have a mini hockey stick, fix your shit, okay? Fix your shit. Hey man, look, you know, pads are expensive, dude. I don't think I could play a beer league with you know, with my current setup. I don't think I could play in there, but you know, I can play some shinny with the pup, so. All right. Anyway, sorry, I was just really excited about that. I didn't think anybody would care about that besides Penguin. So, sticking on my cat chasing the ball, I should honestly get me a mini twig. You should, absolutely. Go to Sport Check. It's like 30 bucks Canadian. It's like 20 bucks or whatever for a rando pack. Dude, I was walking through the mall with a rando pack after appointment yesterday, and I saw these like 14-year-olds looking at me, insane jealousy, bro. Bro, I was like big pimpin', you know? It's like the fucking escalator meme. Dude, I was the envy of every 13 to 15-year-old boy in the mall yesterday, carrying around me some mini stick mystery bags. So it was a good time, bro. Question about your dragon folk. I vaguely remember them collecting large coins. What was that about again? Okay. So the dragon folk, yes. Dragon folk. Dude, I got really out of breath at the gym today, and I had to use one of Ella's inhalers. I just like ran up and down the stairs, and I feel like I can't get my fucking breath back today. I don't know. I think I might have had an asthma attack. I feel like I haven't had my breath back all morning. Oh God, this whole try to get the VO2 max up is tough. Okay, so yes, coins. It is how the dragon folk catalog their history. That's what it is. So they will give coins to people in their culture, villages, tribes, however they're constructed, you know, whatever family / community unit they're living in, they will have coins that they give out of a large sort of like pool of kind of like collected gold that's like smelted down, that they will stamp and carve these coins based on achievements. So you can imagine coins for like your first hunt, you might get a coin. For serving as a town guard, you might have a coin. For doing things that are beneficial to the village or whatever, diplomats, warriors, guardians, merchants, whatever it is. If you do something sort of like good for the community and good for the whole of dragon folkdom, you know, they'll give you these coins. They'll be bigger or smaller depending on the achievement, and they will wear them. So typically depending on your age and how many coins you have and sort of like gender, you'll sort of wear it differently around your clothing. A lot of female dragon folk tend to wear it around like as a belt, and a lot of male dragon folk tend to wear them around their arms as like kind of bands. So when a dragon folk dies, their coins are given back to whomever is managing them, whether it's the family or the town or whatever, to be used for coins for future generations. So it's an important part of their identity, and it's a story of their life. So they wear them proudly to kind of communicate and signify who they are in some way. So you can imagine like really old, important dragon folk at the end of their life having these like shawls, these mantles of just hundreds and hundreds of coins of various different sizes, and they might wear an important one around their neck or something like that, you know, depending who they are. So Ayla Sartharan, this character, she has more than she should for her age that are like much larger, basically depicting her as a skilled diplomat and fighter and whatever else. So yeah, that's the whole point of the Dragonfolk coins, is to show off they're kind of like scout badges, I guess, but hopefully a little more cool or whatever. Dude, am I fucking asthmatic? I've had this fucking cough since I got off the fucking treadmill this morning at the gym. I've had this fucking cough I can't get rid of. Okay. I'll be good.
Hello. Today starts my attempts to
I'll be good.
with my northern cousins.
Aha, yes. Okay.
Flames there, bud. Bit of a rough season so far.
Ooh.
Don't you know?
Ooh, don't get me started. Don't get me started, man. Don't. But that sick ankle breaker from McDavid last night, eh? Holy, put that Columbus boy on his ass like he was a U12 player or some shit playing in the minors, man. You kidding me? What an embarrassment. Good God. Good relating, Daria. You are now 1.3% Canadian. So congratulations. We'll get that number up there, you know? Time for Alberta to defect from Calgary to Edmonton. Listen, as soon as Edmonton hits the postseason, I'm all for it. You know, everyone thinks that like, dude, there's all these like memes online about like, oh, the only people that are happier to see Florida win the cup than Florida were Calgarians. It's like, no, dude, everyone I know was cheering for Edmonton. Everyone I know, they're like, rivals, fair enough. Go get our fucking province and our country a cup. No, man, no. We're already defected, okay? You know, we'll give Wolfie a couple seasons in the pipes to try his best with whatever he's got in front of him. And no, man, full steam on them. So anyway, all right. So the video, I had 3 experiences in the last couple of weeks that have made me think hard about making stuff for Eldara, making some videos and stuff. The first one was when I created my limited series of prints, the limited editions in the large format. They did very well. The dragon one is almost sold out. I think there's 2 left on the website. These are the ones that are much larger than normal, and that I have to roll into the scroll tube and send it like that. So if you guys have gotten them in the mail, that's awesome. I hope you like them. Nobody said. I think one person's mentioned that they got theirs or whatever. So I hope they're good. I ship these like in between archival paper in a bag with white gloves. It's a whole fucking thing, man. Those prints are very important to me because that is kind of my first entry into the gallery space of fine arts. And nobody in my field that does what I do gives a shit about that except for the very highest end artists like your Greg Grotowskis. So I am punching way above my weight class and basically LARPing is the kind of artist I want to be. Because I'm not worthy of doing that yet. But I do it, so. Holy man, this cough. Anyway, and I was really uncertain as if people were going to care about that. I was uncertain if I'd wasted all my money on this printer. Would anyone want to buy big prints? Would anyone care about me buying or making super expensive, fancy fine art prints? I didn't know. But I was at this paint supply store in Edmonton, Maple Airbrush Supplies, fantastic people. And I was talking with two people. Fuck, I forget one of their name. Courtney and oh shit, what was her name? Doesn't matter. Anyway, sorry. Super nice, super lovely, and they were very excited about the idea of we were talking about like art and limited edition stuff, and I was like, let me just ask you a question if you don't mind. Would you care about limited edition prints and whatever, numbered, this, that? And they're both like, oh my god, absolutely. Are you kidding? It's like a single thing and whatever. It's like a whole important thing. Like, absolutely, we care about this. And I was like, okay, you know what? I appreciate that, because they had no connection, relation. They had no idea who I was. They never seen my stream, didn't know what I was doing. I was just some random fucking dude asking the question. They had no responsibility or social obligation not to hurt my feelings or whatever or anything like that, just to give it to me the honest answer. And I really appreciated that, and they're very nice, and they've been cool. So
visitors, how exciting.
Say, what's up, dude? Thanks for the raid. Say, good morning. Hope stream was good. How was the rest of the stream, bro? I couldn't say for all of them, sorry. I had to prep for stream, but hope the rest of the stream went well. Good morning, good to see you, Dark. If you guys aren't following Say, please follow Say. Sorry, I'm just in the middle of a thought. Say, I want to just quickly jump back to it before I get distracted by hockey sticks again. So that was the first thing that where they were enthusiastic about the project that I wanted to do, these large format prints, and that was cool. They were enthusiastic about me doing something that was important to me, and they were kind of expressing a sentiment of like, oh god, the whole fan art scene at conventions is just so tired and boring and lame. And I was like, yes, I agree. Holy shit. Now, the market doesn't agree. The market definitely favors the fan artists. It favors the mass-produced, low-quality prints, whatever, poster style, 25 cent, rip them up when you're done, before you fly home kind of thing. But that's not what I want to do. And so I got a little bit of confidence, I got a little bit of feeling good about it. I was like, okay, maybe people do care about this. And I went to the Edmonton convention, and people were really enthusiastic about me making giclée prints. That was cool, especially them being numbered. Unlimited series numbered for the 13 by 19s, but still numbered. People were very enthusiastic about that. So that's cool. That was one of the first things that happened. The second thing that happened was the trading cards. I'll be honest, I did not think that y'all would be that supportive or enthusiastic with the trading cards. I was not expecting it. And it reminds me that when in doubt, people do actually care about there being like, people do care about like high quality individual pieces of art. And I think maybe that if I'm trying to put my head around that in a little bit, maybe part of that's related to people in general, because I'm trying to figure out how I feel, if that maybe is a sentiment that other people can relate to. Feel in some way that there is a missing component of originality in art and just in media now. Everything's so mass produced, everything's AI slop, everything's whatever. Sometimes like real shit is like kind of cool, And then I was thinking about this really important thing I heard an artist say once about all you can control is creating something that you like. You can't control whether or not anyone cares about it. You can only, and I realized that when I was thinking about YouTube videos, I've been thinking about it from the wrong perspective. I've been thinking about it with at least a little bit too much influence. Not that much to be honest, but still more than it is productive. Influence of the ideas of what kind of videos do I want to make? What kind of videos do people care about? What kind of videos are going to get views? What kind of videos are people going to sit through? At the end of the day, it's a pretty tough world out there. It's pretty heartless, pretty cutthroat in a lot of ways. And, there's a lot of things that like, people, you'll hear like small streamers complaining about stuff. I'll see this on Twitter once in a while. A small streamer will be like complaining. They'll be like, oh my God, why is my chat so slow? Why does nobody talk to me? It feels like nobody wants to interact with me. It's like, that's because you're boring. That's because you're fucking boring. I mean, that's the way it is, unfortunately. If you're a small streamer and nobody comes to your stream, it's because you're boring and whatever. And that's just the way it is. And if my stream's doing poorly, it's because I'm being boring. And that's just there's a certain, like I don't expect anyone to be here if they're not enjoying the stream. I'd hope not. And I hear a lot of people complain and lament about it. because I think that it's true. I think that like if you create boring YouTube videos that are super niche about things, like no one's going to care about it. Why would they? But people that do care about it care immensely. I love this thing called BattleTech. I really do. I love everything about it. I love the video games they make for it, the small ones. I love the miniatures game, the card game that was out, the role-playing game, the lore, the books. I love BattleTech. But BattleTech is not that popular. And so whenever there's anything to do with BattleTech, so there's a new game coming out called MechWarrior, a new expansion pack, a DLC for the new MechWarrior game that's coming out in December. And I am ordering that shit fucking day one. I'm day one-ing that because I love it so much and I want to support the studio because not many people do. And so I recognize that if I started a BattleTech lore YouTube channel, it wouldn't do very well because who cares about BattleTech? And the same thing might be true with the Realms of Eldara. But if I worry about that, about what's going to do well on a YouTube sense, yes, that's good marketing, but I'm not making these videos for marketing. I do need to make videos for marketing, but those can be my shorts. When it comes to the bigger, longer videos, the big chunky ones, I want to talk about the important things that I want to talk about. So for today, I'm going to try and make one of my, if not my first video. So I'm going to be intentionally talking about things here and there, trying to figure out what we can, you know, focus on for a good video, taking people through the process of how I think about designing something. So it's going to be a condensing of today's stream. Maybe I'll do it over 2 streams as well. But the project today is I'm going to try and answer a very difficult concept art question for Eldara that needs to be answered very quickly, which is what do the ancient runes of the Eldari look like? What is the design language? How do we get our players to recognize immediately when they've stumbled upon something very lore important? And you might see this in other games with sort of ancient civilizations. You'll see, what's a good example? StarCraft, they had the Xel'Naga. Whenever you would see a Xel'Naga temple, it looked very different. And you knew that oh shit, that's a Xel'Naga temple, you know? Whenever you see in, I'm trying to think of what's a D&D reference that's relatable to that, but I can't think of a D&D one. Maybe Ilthid or Githyanki. I don't know. You could think about it in Star Wars, old Jedi and Sith temples. You could think about it in the example that I really think of in the back of my brain is Mass Effect. There was like the mass relays and like a bunch of the old sort of stuff like that. Or in Zendikar, of course the runes that the floating shapes and shit like that, Hedrons or whatever they're called. Oh, excuse me. So I want to think of the shape language for the Eldari runes, so people know how. So I want to tackle them and at the end of this, I want to make a painting that is a definitive concept painting of the Eldari runes, and I want to sort of tackle the process start to finish. So I want to talk about concept art work as well as Eldara lore. I want to make a merge video like that because that's the kind of video that I would want to watch, right? And so maybe on YouTube art videos that are lore related need to have something that is a pre-existing franchise people care about. People would love to watch videos about Star Wars lore, Warhammer lore, Warcraft lore, whatever it is, dog. Who's going to care about a lore video about the Realms of Eldara? Well, a bunch of people in our guild, and that's enough for me. And more importantly, I do. So I'm going to make that as for one part that. And then I also am obviously an artist, and I talk about art and I make art. And so part of the process of it for me is thinking about concept art. And so it's going to be kind of a pairing of those two things. Now, is there a market for that on the internet? Not really. You know, that's not a thing that people care about, that they're looking for or whatever. And of course, it's more long form. It'll be longer form, maybe like 10-minute video, or we'll see how long it is. But I want to do some stuff and talk about some lore and tell some stories today that are going to be intended as sort of things they can edit into the video. So first things first. I'm going to be recording from my entire setup here. So I might have to go full screen and do some introductions and stuff. But maybe we'll do that at the end. We'll figure out what kind of video it's going to be, and then we'll do a proper introduction or whatever. But I need to set this up. So I think it'd be beneficial to have like a recording section so I can make shorts out of this as well. So how do we want to do this? If I have one area that's the center that I'm kind of recording from, maybe if I make the frame super, super light so that I kind of know where it is, but it's not interfering too much with the video, I think that'd be good. And we're on the Astral Night. So that's the idea. I'm not sure if it sounds dumb, but that's the idea for today. That's what I want to do. So we got to set this shit up and hopefully it'll work out. But yeah, man. Went to the mall yesterday after my appointment and went to the old sports store and looked around a little bit. And I didn't realize there was already full swing Christmas mode there. So I think you guys will be pleased to know that Ella did Christmas even harder. Is that lined up?
Evan,
yes, it's me. Hello.
You finished.
Yes.
Believe me when I tell you I'ma buy some cards cap less than 3 go get Tiger. Hashtag buy Ella Taco Bell.
I tried to buy Ella Taco Bell. I don't know, dude. Thank you for the tip, Dark. I appreciate that. I tried to buy Ella Taco Bell. But if you saw my Twitter, the night that we got stuff, cards done, and y'all demanded I go buy Ella Taco Bell. She didn't want Taco Bell. In fact, she wanted what we referred to as girl dinner. So we had girl dinner instead of Taco Bell. So, you know, I don't know if I can. I like, you know. I guess she wanted a Sunday instead of, you know, and so, I mean, yeah, exactly. Who are we to question the queen? Exactly. Cass gets it. So there it is. Taco Bell or girl dinner, apparently. She said she wants boy dinner soon, though, and so that's gonna mean steak, eggs, and avocado. So, I blame one of the problems that's currently blading streamers on Twitch. Is that Twitch isn't counting lurkers and those that don't send messages every few minutes. Yeah, true. In some ways, yeah, especially for advertising. Twitch is having a lot of problems right now. So, or you could ask questions while you're explaining. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I'm gonna edit and cut everything down. So today's just a normal stream. I might just take some time to do, like, you know, record a little lore thing or whatever. Or describe part of the process or something like that, just so I know, and then I can make like markers in the stream for where to go for those edits, and then just kind of like speed run stuff or whatever. So it's gonna be weird. I'm gonna try my hand at this and see if I can make a good video out of it, or if it's gonna be terribly lame and I'm gonna have to do a voiceover for it. Who knows? I don't know. So I need to hit the record button for the whole stream. This is gonna be weird. I'm gonna be recording twice. I'm gonna be recording the main stream and the short part. Oh god, okay. Let's see if the GPU just jumps up in temperature. Went up by 20% load as soon as I hit record on both, so hey, you know? Yeah, it was nice to go out, and I got Ella out of the house, and as I said, she's been feeling a little under the weather. So I got her out of the house, got her moving around a little bit, and she was happy to be out. So I was happy to be out with her. She was happy to be out. It was a pretty good day yesterday. Oh my god. But we did stop by a Canadian staple called Canadian Tire. And she did buy a couple of Christmas decorations for the house for the year. So we'll see how that goes. How big is this? Is this too big? This might be too big. I might have to... hold on. How big is this going to be? No, I think that fits. Okay. So... when it comes to... oh, actually, you know what? I don't need to start recording my shorts thing real quick. When it comes to our ancient monoliths, I think that there is a good little maybe research portion that I can do here. So one of, I think, the most interesting parts of the ancient world is monolithic construction, and I think it asks and answers a very interesting question. why do we like and why are we so captured by monolith constructions? And I think part of the answer that makes them so mystical is the idea of seeing things that are very difficult to build or construct and wondering how, and not knowing exactly how ancient people did it, right? You look at something like Easter Island, the Maui, is that what they're called on Easter Island? You look at you look at Stonehenge, you look at pyramids, you look at Egyptian temples, big headstones, things like that. There's something enchanting about ancient temples and monoliths, and it draws directly on sort of our real life world experience, where there's kind of a mystery and a magic to the idea of finding ancient ruins and monoliths and things that have lasted and survived from, a previous age. And part of that being what does survive from the ancient world. And of course, anything organic rots away. Very famously, Alexander the Great's armor and his soldier's armor. Excuse me. His armor and his soldier's armor was made of like linen and wax and shit or whatever. I don't know, but it was organic armor. And it was as protective as bronze at the time, but it was much lighter. So we don't have any armor relics from the age because it all rotted away. And that's a big problem. Even metal doesn't survive in a lot of cases. So Bronze Age weaponry, things like that, tools, a lot of them degrade and rot and aren't preserved. Stone doesn't. Obviously stone erodes, but stone is very good at withstanding the ages. So when we see intentionally crafted stone structures, especially if they're monolithic, I think that creates a sense of wonder. And fantasy, I don't know why fantasy doesn't play on it that well, but science fiction does. And I think it's really intelligent the way that sci-fi sort of does this. They the authors and writers and artists in science fiction will take the idea of the wonder of, finding an ancient temple or an ancient monolith from some unknown civilization, that real discovery sense. And they'll place it on an intergalactic or whatever, interstellar or intergalactic level. So it's the idea of not just because that in some ways is I think that it comes that line from Star Trek referring to space as a final frontier. I think that's a really interesting one. I think that's one of the reasons why sci-fi is so enchanting, because the last frontier of exploration in the modern world or the modern day was things like the Americas and Asia and the South Pole. And the world has been explored as far as what is possible. And obviously the ocean floors and the depths have been very unexplored, and there's things like that. But it's very difficult to explore and not a lot of enthusiasm about it. So there's not a great government agency spending, hundreds of millions of dollars exploring the depths of the ocean. Should there be? I don't know. I think so. But, here's the world we live in. But space has this sense of exploration. I think that's what a lot of great science fiction games lean on. And so Mass Effect, Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, all these great science fiction franchises, Dune, a lot of them have this idea of that next frontier of exploration. So it's not like you go to this island in the Caribbean and there's some, I don't know, temple there from some ancient, whatever, who knows, and you can find some burial sites and oh my god, there's something here, people that we don't know existed. There's something even more wondrous about that when you add in the prospect of aliens. But I don't think that the alien is the important part, because that would imply that it's sort of by nature designed for science fiction. I think it's the idea of some sort of profoundly important ancient civilization. There's something about the old past, right? The idea, one of the most interesting, I think, stories or myths or tales in the modern era is the idea of more powerful, more intelligent, more advanced ancients than we are now. It's a very old story people tell about, fucking pyramids and shit. And it's compelling and it's great. And so when you take that to the heights of space and the heights of interstellar, travel, I think that's a really cool idea. You stumble on a new planet and you get some sort of strange reading from the planet, like it's emitting some kind of a weak radio signal, and you go down and track it to its source, and it's a giant cave system that leads down into miles down into different biomes in the planet, and at the center of it is some stone device glowing and emanating some kind of a distress call or something. It's like, oh my god, the mysteries, right? It's cool. So the Eldari are going to be represented by them in the modern day of Teleria and Eldara as the monoliths and the temples they created. And part of the way the monolithic construction is important to this is because it is going to be mostly impossible to craft. So their monuments and their runes are made of a special kind of Eldari runestone that is described as being black obsidian with specks and shimmers and little veins of blue light moving through it. So little tiny, like almost circuits here and there, just little dotting shooting stars going off different like geometric patterns and then disappearing and flecking in and out. And part of the importance of that is twofold. One, you only find that type of stone left clearly shaped by the Eldari. So these are the big rings that I've done before, big ring runes that we know about as their like runic sort of sigils, but they also have different other runic locations and monoliths. So we need to create a shape language for the other ones, so we know that when you see this kind of pattern of ancient runestone, because there's multiple layers or levels of sort of forgotten civilizations and older ancients within Eldara. Part of the mystery of the Eldari is they were mysterious to even the most ancient mortal civilizations. So there will be ancient mortal civilizations to stumble upon. There will be ancient fallen kingdoms and whatever, and orders of magic casters to go explore and discover. But even to them, they didn't know much about the Eldari. And so part of the fun of the Astral Knights is if you go find something that's an old sage temple from the first age or the second age, I guess, of Teleria, maybe there's some story of like, oh, they knew something about the Eldari that we in our modern era don't. And cool, we add to our information and understanding of the truly, the origin of basically life and the creation itself. So that's cool. That's a cool storyline. But I want to separate out really well when you find an Eldari rune and just a whatever, like an old sage temple or something like that. So the runestone, one, it's only ever found. It's not like it naturally occurs, this stone, and it's like, oh, but the Eldari are the only one that can shape it. That's not how it exists. It only is ever formed, kind of gets spawned in as Eldari runestone. So that's one part of the mystery. The second part of the mystery is it's all generally one piece. There aren't bricks. It isn't constructed. It's almost like it's molded in one large solid piece. So yes, you can break it off. It's very, very strong. It's extremely difficult to break off, but you can. As soon as you shatter a piece from it, from the large construction, it loses its like magical sort of potency. So it fades, the blue lines go away, more or less the shimmer. Now there are, just to set the rules here for how do we design these, there are large broken runes where there's large sort of fractured pieces that might be floating around each other. And they are still active. So there's something that happens that the stone, the temples can fracture and not go inert. But the process of them naturally, air quote, naturally fracturing versus being broken off is different in some way. So you can't just break down a runestone and haha, we have ancient Eldari runestone. I made a throne out of it. It'd be extremely difficult to make it into anything. Now, excuse me. One of the added mysteries to the Astral Knights oh man, I'm gonna make some tea with some honey at some point in time. One of the added mysteries of the Astral Knights is that they are one of the only sort of places in the world that guards some of those secrets. So the Astral Knight Temple, much of it is constructed out of this ancient runestone. I think we'll go with that. Lower areas, things like that. Now, whether they made it or it was already there and they moved in, we don't know yet. The Astral Knight Temple is a very mysterious place. It is in a valley of storms, and you can't find it unless you know how to get there. Basically, it's sort of hidden and shrouded from the world. You kind of need to like know where to go and be almost like invited in to be able to cross the threshold into this valley, right? And as you move through this valley, it's not huge, it's large, but it's not like massive, takes days to traverse. You enter into the valley and you see at the far side of it these storms, these ruins, these sigils. You see the Astari Temple. And so you can go to the temple, and it is very mysterious. I mean, I described it, and I've worked at it a little bit more in the story that I'm writing right now, where I talk about it. Like the first sentence of the book that I'm writing, is pretty dramatic, but I kind of like it because it's a little self-indulgently dramatic. The first sentence is, the temple halls were always dark and cold. That is the way the Astral Knights preferred it. That's the first line. Is the temple halls were always dark and cold. That is the way that is the way the Astral Knights preferred it. And then I go and describe how oppressive this structure is and how imposing it is. The Astral Knight Temple is a large construction. It's a fortress, sort of monolith temple, central chamber, lots of like, you know, Eldari and Astral Sage constructions. Beneath the temple is a whole nother world. It's a whole nother thing. Beneath the temple is where the forge is, for instance, where they actually craft this astral steel, where they have the sacred ritual and the secrets of their astral steel construction, where they where the one forge master and his apprentices, where they craft all the swords and everything. So they do their whole thing down there, and it's a very like sacred, secret type thing. There's one book, there's one tome that has the secrets of how to forge this like astral steel, and it's guarded, and only the forge master is allowed to look upon it, not even the Grand Master of the temple. It's the only thing in the temple that the Grand Master is not allowed to look upon, for even he or she mustn't know the secrets of how their sacred steel is made. But of course, if something were to happen to the Forge Master, then a new Forge Master would be appointed, and they'd have access to this sacred knowledge. The apprentices, although the apprentices know, they see the process and they help in the process, they don't actually know how it works, really, because it's like there's a mysticism to it. There are other things within the temples beneath it. Many even Astral Knights don't know the true depths of the temple and to what resides under it. I describe it in one of the lore entries as a labyrinth of vaults and chambers. And so there's secret and hidden things deep into the world, and it goes very, very, very far down, including some naturally formed chambers as well that the temple is sort of built into, and has sort of like access to as well. So there's some pretty deep secrets down there. There's this one, well, yeah, there's stuff that even high accomplished Astral Knights wouldn't know of, but it's also considered to be that there's a wisdom of the order, that things that are forgotten in the depths are forgotten for a reason, so they don't explore down there too often. Every once in a while there'll be like, you know, oh, we need to know about this thing. Well, there is apparently a legend of a sacred, there's this on the scroll of legends, there's a sacred library somewhere deep beneath the temple, you know, under the chamber of whatever, that we can go on an expedition to go find. And so they'll have to go like on an expedition into their own temple depths to find some forgotten library that has scrolls and books of forbidden knowledge. And, you know, the knights must look for only the one text and leave their curiosity, because if the library was forgotten about, it was forgotten probably for a reason. And so they were not to look upon other texts, and they were to find the one tome of knowledge to deal with whatever thing they're dealing with, or something like that. You know, reliquaries and artifacts, and maybe even prisons, who knows. So yeah, there's the whole thing about the depths of the temple. But with that, that is probably the one place where we're going to see where we're going to break the rules for our Eldari runestone. Because if we set up a strong rule for how the runestone works, and we don't deviate from that, then what happens when we do deviate from it, it's more impactful. And this is something that I've thought about a lot recently for Eldara and for storytelling. A lot of times when I create a rule, a lot of the feedback I get immediately is the exceptions. People excited to be the exceptions. That's great. But I can't give you guys what you want, because if I give you guys what you want, then you won't want it anymore. So I have to give you what you need, not what you want. So you want exceptions, but I have to give you what you need, which is rules for this, so that you can then go off and create your own exceptions. So when I create an exception to a rule, it's going to be a big deal. So if I say, here's how the Eldari stone works, here's how it's made, here's how, or well, not how it's made, but here's how it's constructed, here's what it looks like, here's how it functions, here's how it interacts with the world, here's how you interact with it. And then when I say, oh, by the way, there's like a pendant made of Eldari runestone around the Grandmaster's neck, you're like, whoa, I thought you said you couldn't make jewelry from it because if you break off any stone, then it loses its inherent qualities. And I'll say, yeah, I did. And it's like, oh shit, what the fuck is that about then, you know? And that's important, I think, in storytelling, is being able to understand when you break the rules. You have to do it very intentionally. Calendar countdown? Wait, what calendar? For what? I'll confuse Sarah. What are we talking about? Astral calendar. Yeah, so the point of what I want to do right now is I want to figure out the non-ring based monoliths that we can sort of put into the world. The different constructions of them that we can put in, so that you'll either find them in you know, the wild inside chambers, you know, or you can find them as existing monolithic things. I've really been thinking about the difficulty and balance of the benefits of a empty world versus a full world. Like, I think you sacrifice different things. You know, you have like the charm of something like the Ravnica setting in D&D, fuck. Imagine the Gathering, which D&D has adapted, by the way. The Ravnica setting, those of you who don't know, is... So let me say it again, because I sniffled during, if I'm recording it. For those who don't know, the Ravnica setting is basically the entire city is the whole plane. So it's just endless city. So you have all the cool ideas of secret levels. You have the charm. You have the charm of people and different cultures and back alleys and people living on top of each other. You have the bustle of cities like Tokyo and New York, with the kind of the whimsy of a magical fantasy world. So Ravnica is great like that. It's kind of like Coruscant in Star Trek. It's like Coruscant in Star Wars. Jesus, I'm getting... We're talking about a lot of sci-fi today, okay? So Ravnica is great because it's bustling, it's busy, it's endless things to do, it's wonders and mysteries to see. But in order to have a place that's very busy, you'd have, like, people do shit when they get places. I know, crazy idea. People do shit when they get places. So when you have people, you know, exploring or settling in a new area, you have, I need to start aggregating these so I can pull them into one document. You have people kind of positioning themselves in new areas of the world, and then they explore everything, dig everything up, and then, you know, there's nothing new to explore. And so when you have the combination of people and time, you lose, in some cases, you lose a bit of wild wilderness wonder. So if you have, oh, the ancient elves have lived here for 10,000 years. They've lived in this forest. Then they've created great cities in this forest where they thrive upon the land, and they live amongst the trees and with the animals of the forest, and they hunt from the wilderness and the woods, and they cultivate the pastures and the meadows, and they've lived in harmony with the land for 10,000 years, and their great civilization has grown into countless cities and villages, and it's very cool, right? But it's very hard to say there's a story in this ancient wood about a tomb of a fallen king, you know, from a forgotten empire. And so find this tomb and find the relic of the ancient kings. because it's kind of hard to say, well, if the elves were living here for 10,000 years and in fairly good amounts of peace, where they had time to pursue things like art and anime, why they would have explored the whole damn thing. I mean, 10,000 years is a long time. I mean, there's not a lot of like, North America has been kind of settled, air quotes, don't get me started, for a couple hundred years now, and we've kind of figured out what's here. There's not a lot to explore, you know. It's like the Amazon maybe is like kind of one of the last frontiers of fairly unexplored Earth. So like, kind of hard to believe if we in our, you know, fragility could do that in a couple hundred years. You know, Europe's been flattened, explored the shit out of it. You know, we've done that. Been there for a few thousand years, right? What happens when you've been there for 10,000 years at an advanced, magical, proficient level of civilization? It's hard to believe that there's anything really mysterious to go uncover. But then you get things like Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild, now, to be fair, I have not played Breath of the Wild. But I like the world and I like the lore, I like the stories I've heard about it. So just fair play, I haven't played it, so I don't have the direct experience. But from what I understand, a lot of the charms of Breath of the Wild and exploration games like that, Genshin, to some extent Dark Souls and Elden Ring, there's a lot of exploration of a world that's wondrous still. There's things, it's a very lonely world. When you have a lonely world, you have sort of the implication of there being mysteries to uncover. There's not a lot of people here, and I don't know what happened to them, but, you know, for whatever reason, we don't know what's really out there. We haven't been out there in a long time. We've been, you know, for some reason, either civilization fell or it never was created in some ways, or never rose, or it fell at some point in time. And so there's mysteries and things out there. And maybe there was an ancient civilization that flourished here thousands of years ago, but we don't know about it now. And so you can go off into the lonely world and explore things and tread in caves and name the nameless hills and dells and taste from yet untasted wells and stoop and look in mirror and see this crown of stars appear as gems upon a silver thread upon the shadows of your head. You can do all that because no one's been there for no one has been in this ancient temple has remained undisturbed for several thousand years, and your group is the first mortals to set foot upon stone. Tread carefully, for the ancient dead are easily stirred, and they will awaken, defend their fallen king. And that's cool. It's mysterious, right? And it's hard to have both. So there's like a certain level of what was the original point for that? That 20-minute fucking interlude. Well, the overall idea... What's up, Tari? The overall idea was I want the Eldari there to be things to explore of this ancient world. So we have... This is maybe the best, most definitive up-close view of an Eldari runestone. So they're sharp and jagged and broken and fractured and sort of almost as if they were expelled outwards from a center point. These rings are the same runic language the Eldari use. They are very complicated in that they are a rune, a magical rune. They are a number system, and they're a language. But the language is sort of in some ways encrypted. Now, they have a great deal to do with prime numbers, and there's a whole section of not only cryptography, but also math nerds that will think that the runes are cool in 30 years when I finally explain my genius. But part of their sort of structures that they're very contrasting of the natural world. So the whole idea is when you see them, they are obviously they are not sort of constructed with modern means. So there's no bricks, right? For instance, there's no netherite bricks. And they're also they're geometric and intentionally created. They're way too intentionally created to be naturally spawning, for one. But also they are of a different type of material. So And as I said, the Eldari runes, they're the only place that you find them are in the forms already like created by the Eldari. So those are two things we're gonna rely on. As far as like these the monoliths go, we were talking about sort of the real monoliths earlier, and kind of why they're so enchanting, why they're so interesting. I think that a lot of science fiction, if you search sci-fi monoliths, it seems to be a commonly beloved structure of mystery. You know, this is very similar to Eldari monoliths. The black and blue is like a very, you know, Eldara thing. So this caught my eye immediately. And as we talked about, in space, they are even more so mysterious and different and unique. But you know, there's a geometric side to them, a size to them that kind of ask more questions than they answer. And I think that's a very cool thing to sort of act upon. So we're going to utilize a little bit of that for this design here. We're going to try and find a shape language that we can, and a rule set that we can kind of like follow that emphasize their mystery, I guess, is kind of the idea. And hopefully we can arrive somewhere where I can make this video and talk about a little bit of the lore and the theory behind it. So, I'll pull an intro out of all of that. I'll try and edit it down a little bit. Maybe figure out some ways to make it more concise, but that's just me thinking out loud, and I'll edit it out later. Good example would be like Mass Effect did really good job with this. They had like all these different kind of like runes and languages and stuff. I think lots of science fiction does it really well. Not necessarily fantasy as much, which is very interesting. It seems like it'd be such a good fantasy, and it's not like it's unheard of, but it's not much more common sort of trope or storytelling device found in science fiction. So we will get into some of that design today. So we gotta draw some runes, man, some ruins. So I think what I'm gonna do, I have my main frame here. I need to do some much smaller sketches. So we're gonna do, we're gonna do this, all right? Make a much smaller frame. We're gonna zoom right on in on it. And so we're gonna do a bunch of little sketches. This is some real concept shit right here. Today is gonna be a concept art day. What am I doing? I'm on the wrong fucking window. Okay. So we'll go exploring, all right? No scuff zone, exactly. Even that still feels a little bit large, to be honest. Kind of be working in this territory right here. Yeah, and how does that look? What the fuck page am I on? Oh. Okay, I get it. I understand. I was on a different document. I was on my sketchbook and not on... Okay. Okay, all right. You think you're funny, Photoshop. I made a new window for recording for the wrong file. That's what happened. I was monologuing about stuff nobody cared about dumb nerd shit and lore. So I was distracted. Okay, where's our frame here? Frame is right there. So we'll zoom in on it. So I'm going to be super greedy. I'm going to be recording main process video here for the actual video that I want to make, like the proper video. And then I'm going to be recording in a small format right here for some shorts. Yes. Good. Good. Okay. Record. Got large print and framed it up. It'll go in my daughter's room. Oh shit, you did? Oh god, let me see it all framed up, man. That's fucking amazing. I'm honored. What a place of importance and honor. That's dope, man. I you made my day, Dark. That's cool. Because yeah, man. I mean that oh shit. I wasn't sure if anyone would like frame it and get it all fancy like. So that's cool, man. I'm glad you framed that shit. Oh man. Okay, cool. That's rad. I'm curious what kind of frame you got for it. All right. All right. Okay, so maybe the first things first, we'll start with some of the Eldari mono or the Eldari rings. We'll do a couple of pieces of Eldari rings. Oh my god. And we'll see if we can get a couple of designs real quick that sort of evoke that Eldari rune vibe. And we'll do a couple of like floating rings in the sky as like just little intro pieces for, hey, this is kind of what the base idea is for the rings. I don't want to make them too thick. Like the big Eldari gate print that I've made, maybe that was a bit too thick, but I think that there's going to be sort of larger and lesser and greater monoliths, and kind of comes down to size. The biggest ones will be a little thicker. So for these ones, we can have them be a little thinner, a little sharper, you know? You saw the pixels? Oh, no. You saw unexposed pixel? Well, no, I can never get married. God damn it. It's good to see you, Rob. What's up, bro? They make the resin mold for frames so I can just make that? A resin mold for frames? What the fuck? Wouldn't that be huge? Wouldn't there be infinite bubbles in that? What? I assume that would be unruly. It's cheaper than the wooden frames, but then I can make the frames themed to 2 pieces. Okay. There's a way to limit the bubbles. Yeah. And something too large to put in a pressure or vacuum chamber. Because I know people do giant like epoxy resin like wood tables and shit like that. You know, they'll do the thing where they fill the cracks in of wood with resin. It was like really popular a couple years ago. With like wine moms and shit. You know, everybody had a charcuterie board that was... Let me just move this shit real here. Yeah, all the wine ones had a charcuterie board that had the resin and wood thing on it. Yeah, wait, what? Not using porous material to stir. Heat gun to heat out the bubbles. Oh, yeah, okay. Apply generous amounts of heat. Solve all problems. Well, fair enough. If it works, I guess. Yeah, I'd be kind of sick, actually. Okay. Do a couple of quick rings. Put them over a landscape, and then do the next stage. So if we're trying to make some actual like proper like base kind of like God, what's the word? Like almost like a style guide. I think it'll be important to give examples of everything, you know? There's a lot of sharpness to them. They're very much the contrast of sharp, like, points and then the rings themselves. And the size and dip of all the rings determines what the actual, like, sort of rune symbol is. Some are broken down. Some are still good. They're all virtually unusable, though. Every time an Astral Sage comes across, like, an Eldar ring or whatever, it's very cool, but they can't use them. So that's why they tell people that they're, like, inert and dead. They sort of still thrum with a little bit of power, but they ultimately don't really have the juice anymore. Whatever they were used for the creation of Teleria kind of used up whatever magics they had left over. Let's update Sano's tattoo. Well, there's a rule. So the current rule set for Eldar rings is that they are there's basically
What?
how.
I don't want it. It's stupid.
How many times that this month?
I can't
Jesus.
have it.
Wow, geez. Hey, yo, thanks for the 666 bits, Dark. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I had a streamer ask me if I did anything with my bits. And I told him about the crumbs. And they're like, "Oh, you don't have a daily bit goal?" And I was like, "No, why would I have a daily bit goal?" Like, you could do like a giveaway, like give away like a sketch when you hit like a bit goal for the day. I was like, that's dumb. I hate that idea. And they're like, all right, man, but I could do like a promo or something. I don't know. Your TTS-less bits made me think about that. Could have like a I don't know, man. I want to do more stuff with promos and shit, so I think it's a bit dark. I appreciate it, man. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. A big goal to put the golden orb on screen. Damn. That's an important, that's a heavy burden right there. I don't know about that, man. Okay, so rings have a couple of elements. So we'll make the guide here. So rings have the basic the basic sort of like construction. Okay. We'll make our little guide here, a little style guide for making an Eldar ring. At least the non... Like, I really want to make a computer program that will do this for me, but I don't want to say exactly what I want it to do, because then people will get... We'll solve the mystery. So... here's the way that Eldari rings work, for the most part. Okay. So our basic ring... Oops. A little... not ring enough. There we go. So a ring is composed of the central ring, rune composition, rules, call it that. So we have our central ring, 3 mostly even sections. Three gaps. Ew. Get out of here. Then we have, what are we going to call them? Arms? Spikes? Points? Six, or each gap. Is capped on either side by 2 arms. Okay. Arms extend in and out various lengths. One, two, three. Mainly 3 stages out. Two stages in. And so from that framework, you can make runes on your own, basically, that way. Now, there's a way to that I want to be able to generate random runes to express the language, but that's the secret. So I need to write that, or get Ella to write that for me. Maybe Cobalt if he's bored. But yeah, so you could have a rune that's like, you know, the Vitruvian rune that's like a 3, 2, you know, 1, 2, or 3, 1, 1, 2, and then you could have, you know, 1, 1, 2, 2, and then you could have 3, 0, 1, 2, or something like that. So you can compose the runes however you like that, and build your own Eldari runes like that. So that's the rules of the Eldari runes, is that they have a somewhat set construction. Now these rules will be broken as I need to for various important lore things. But in general, if we're ever encountering runes in Teleria, they will follow this guide for creating them. Dare someone to drop 690 bits for a great cause, for Evan's most hated bit redeem. What is my 690 bit redeem? Mini... Wait, what? What even is that? Shit. Because mini is 666. Do I even have one? I think I made it. I think the mini full used to be 690, didn't it? And then I made it. No, wait, because I wouldn't have done that to mini. I don't know. People who are drawing them do the jagged edges or straight edges, such like the difference between hiragana and katakana. Wait, what? People who are drawing them do jagged edges or straight lines, such as the difference between hiragana and katakana. They're both straight lines for hiragana and katakana. What do you mean by that? Or, well, brush strokes. One is left. Oh, fuck. And the fucking Matt Mercer eyebrow wiggle. I forgot about that. I'm completely okay. Oh, I completely fucking forgot about that. Oh god, it's been so long since someone redeemed that. I completely forgot that even existed. I could have gone the rest of my life not knowing that alert existed, and I would have lived a fully happy and fulfilled life. I would have been fine. All right? God damn it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the 690 bits there, Dark. I appreciate that. Thanks, dude. Thanks for reminding me. Yep, that's great. Okay, so we God damn it. We'll leave that into the video, right? Yeah, that sound clip one of my Discord soundboards. Why? Okay. No, so Eldari rings are, we have two main examples of sort of canonical Eldari rings. One is the larger Eldari runes of Novalia, and they're much smoother. They're smooth. Ooh, look at how smooth they are for the most part. And then we have our Horizon rings, which is much smaller, much more zoomed in. As I said, the larger the rings get, the more kind of uniform they are, and the more like, you know, singular monolithic object. If you get up really close, they're very jagged, but they're very sharp. But the small ones are much more broken up like this. So I'd say these are your two style guides for runes. And actually, I should just hit this over, shouldn't I? What am I gonna use my snipping tool for? I'm gonna do this. Let's grab this right here. This is one example. Okay. Oh my god. 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 So this is one example here. Let's see how it kind of fits into the guide there. And then this, this is another example. What the fuck? Why so large? So we have two paintings in here. Merge all this down. And then we have our ring composition sort of style guide. So I'll make one more or two more examples of rings. We have an idea of how they kind of look in general. And like this one has another break in it, which is, or a very short, two very short sections, and multiple, like this has 4 obvious breaks instead of 3. Most are composed of 3, mostly even sections. I guess what I could say is I could say 3 to 5, mostly even sections. Because I kind of want them to be, yeah. Let's do this. And then when we break the rules, then that's okay. We'll move this over here. And we'll bring our little rune in here. And we'll do one with maybe 5 sections. Or 4, maybe. Yeah. 4 breaks. We'll do another ring here, and then we will make a little sketch of one in the wild, in the wilderness. So, what's up, solid spider snake? There we go. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Welcome in. Put in stream topics. The straight edge I'm talking about. Okay, hold on. What am I not getting about this? Stream topics. The straight edge. Oh, do you mean if they're smooth? Do you mean like the actual ring, if it's smooth or not? Oh, okay. Depends on usually the size. So yeah, like larger ones that you see out in the world are going to be a little more. It's almost like well, it can be anywhere between. Let's just say we'll leave it anywhere, either smooth or jagged, depending on the stone. You can kind of do either. I would lean on the side of jagged. I'd say so if you're writing runes, so like you could see this rune out in the wilderness, and this rune might mean something right here. But if you were to record this rune as an actual like astral knight or sage ring rune, you would just sort of record and measure it out. So it's almost like this is the natural form of it, and you can turn that into like a letter, which the letter would be much more, or the actual inscribed rune that you're writing would just be the important sort of like, triangles and whatever. So yeah, the simplified version versus the one made of sort of the Eldari runestone in the wilderness. You wouldn't write it with the you wouldn't write it with the jagged sort of like edges and stuff. That wouldn't be a thing that you typically would see happen. Because don't forget, the runestones they're magical runes. They're also a language, and they're also like a mathematical code. And that's sort of kind of a little bit of one of the sci-fi light elements of the setting, is that there's sort of a little bit of this idea that, the central like idea of the Eldari runes in some ways is that they are the magic of the Eldari, the creators. Yo, Cisadora, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. The magic of the creators is that they could kind of do anything they want with their magic. They were all powerful, almighty. They wielded the magic of creation itself, and these runes are the scaffolding that they left behind in the creation of Teleria. Cool, right? So if you could understand and comprehend fully how to produce the same sort of like runes and utilize them the same way the Eldari did, you could in theory wield the most powerful magics, the magics of creation itself, right? But it is so incomprehensible that you don't even really know where to start. So it's kind of a little bit of one of those sci-fi ideas of like, to understand how the language is written, you'd have to be like a supercomputer or whatever, because the intelligence of, it's like some super intelligent race of ancient creators or whatever, and you can't even decipher, it'd be sort of like, I don't know, cavemen trying to decipher like the Korean written alphabet. You would just have no idea where you're even starting. You just wouldn't have it in you. You wouldn't have a concept of language as sophisticated enough to be able to, to build something out of that. So, okay. This is an example, and then we'll also use the same rune as a little piece for a little quick concept sketch of it sort of floating in the sky there above some kind of a, I don't know, temple or something, or monument, monolith, whatever. Once again, fellow DM, do world building. Looks great. Thank you, Cisadora. I appreciate that. Yeah, everything that I do for the world that I'm doing is not just for my own D&D game, but I'm also publishing the adventure and the campaign setting. So I got to figure out all this stuff, not just for my own world building, for my own campaign, but also in a way that is like a style guide that basically allows other people to kind of write and play and create their own stories based off of it. So it's one half personal D&D project and one half like formal sort of like game design. I'm like art directing people that I can't like talk to, which is tough, but it is fun. I love meeting my creative DMs in the midst of their own world building, so I feel ya. But yeah, the runes themselves are a simplified version of it. They're just a recording of it. That's like also when you look at an astral atlas, a lot of the astral atlases will also have sort of almost like like in some ways the astral sage ring being 6 points to it is almost like trying to record and being able to sort of like, you could almost think of it kind of like a Stargate, like lighting up different components or different sections of the actual rune. There's a whole like sort of thought through kind of like tech side of the Astral Atlas that kind of references the Eldari runes. But that's what it's doing. It's forming and utilizing the runes in whatever small, you know, easy to understand way sages can grasp the concepts. So finding new Eldari runes is less important for sages as finding ancient sage runes, because the sage runes are like kind of modern translations of whatever the Eldari runes were. So there's like 2 levels of mysterious ancient findings that you can stumble across if you're a sage player or a knight. Knights have like an inherent understanding of what's going on that's a little bit more refined. Like your knight players are almost like they'll be looking at the sage story as, and kind of like in some small ways kind of rolling their eyes, right? And not disrespectfully, but like, I mean, maybe some are, but it's more like, oh, you're worried about trying to unlock the secrets of that little rune. Meanwhile, I'm trying to protect the the rune site's whatever. The rune site's safety, and because they know something about the rune site that your sage player might not. Obviously, if you're playing a D&D game together, like sages and knights will interact with each other at least a little bit. Not super often, because the sages typically don't have anything the knights like need, but they do have an understanding of like sort of whatever their speciality is that they're currently studying or whatever. So, for instance, like in the story, in the novel, Kolos and Veyron are put together to go uncover a mystery, and a lot of it is Veyron uncovered something in her studies, and the knights were sort of interested in it, and so she was brought to the order, and they've considered her research important enough that they're going to send Kolos with her to help flesh out whatever important thing it is that she's trying to uncover. It's of interest to them. It's important enough that it's of interest to them, which is like a big deal. Sages typically don't ever interact with Astral Knights. If they do, it's often not a good interaction. It's something, something they'd rather avoid. It's never typically a friendly. It'd be like getting called in by the Inquisition for some reason. Not that they really deal with sages. Like, they are the protectors of the sage orders as well, unofficially. Or I guess officially or formally. So, sages might see them kind of like maybe Azkaban guards would see Dementors. These sort of like edgy, uncomfortable people that are like a necessity, but they don't really want to get near them. Because depending on your sage and depending on your order, you might have a different opinion of how they sort of like engage in their ritualistic ascension of sages being knights and the dangers that go with that. And some orders are pretty disgusted by it. Some orders think that the knights break too many taboos, that they are too dangerous, and that whatever gifts that they have are ill-gotten kind of like demented mutations of what astral magic is supposed to be. And a lot of sages don't understand why they're sort of orders grandmasters and stuff like that, and orders sort of like councils, depending on how the order is organized, why they kind of interact with or abide by or respect the authority and whatever of the knights. A player on Saturday who played a wizard and wanted to get contributor credit on whatever paper Zephyr put together. First time I had an actual research gremlin as a PC. That's awesome. Wait, that's really cool. That's fun. Since he blew his head off, since he blew the head off of a consortium brute to save Zephyr's life, he agreed. That's fun. That's really cool. Wonder if that person was an academic IRL. That's their jam. Oh, I gotta get research credit on this. That's adorable. I love that. I love when you can give players like some reward that they find valuable that doesn't feel like it would fit into like that's one of my favorite things with D&D is you can tailor rewards. Like I gave my party at some point in time all this treasure from Luna. Luna gave them all this like mass amounts of treasure, for completing Horizon the first run. This was, by the way, not Horizon in the form that you guys know it. This is Horizon in the 16-week form that my players ran through it, which was a very in-depth thing anyway. They basically took longer on the side quest than anyone should. And undid an entire criminal underground ring or whatever in Horizon. So Luna gave them some serious like gifts when they saved Zephyrim. And or at the time his original name was Endymion, but people don't really know how to read the name Endymion, so I changed it to Zephyrim. So a little background there, you know. So they saved Zephyrin, and Luna gave them a bunch of treasure, and I gave them stuff that I think that they would care about, some magic items, gold, whatever. But then Jackie Felling, she was playing her rogue Jack, and he wanted to create his own. Or no, sorry, she was playing her character Desdemona. And so Desi wanted to create her own like tavern or pub or restaurant or something in Horizon. So one thing that Luna gave her was a kind of a proposition, like a deed to like build a pub, basically, like whenever they build a new district in Horizon, whenever Desi wants to settle down, that she said she'd give her the more or less the land and the materials to build her pub. And then also gave her some like elvish spices and stuff. And the spices don't do anything. They're just like really cool, glittery elvish spices that make food taste really good. You know, and really mystical and shit. And Jackie loved it. That was like her favorite reward she's ever gotten given, besides Dwarven Forge Butter, which is also a food thing. So it's funny, like when players like really care about things that people wouldn't normally think. Like if you give like a food reward in your D&D campaign on the, like you're at the adventure, not many people are going to care. But if you have that one player in there, you know, I always think that's really fun, is that you can really like cater some of the rewards to people individually. Decided group slaughter the entire Thieves Guild into Harbor while freeing Zephyrin, which is also amazing, by the way. I love they just went after them. You know, you also give them some Dwarven Forge Butter. What a stupid little item. Why does anybody care about Dwarven Forge Butter? It makes everything taste as good as movie theater popcorn, man. I don't know why it's so appealing to D&D players. It's like the highest prize they can possibly obtain is Dwarven Forge Butter. I don't get it. I don't know if I should question it or not. Yeah, I don't know if I can or want to or even should. I'm trying a new way of like doing really quick little shadow shapes and vignettes, or for vignettes here, and I think it's working out. When you zoom out, it looks pretty good, I think, you know? Keep it very light. I was a little heavy-handed when I first started this, to erase some of that out. These satisfying shapes. Alright. Doesn't have to be a good sketch, just a very quick one. The little body of water here in the front. A little lake, stream type thing. A pond, maybe. A little subtle reflection in it. Water is such an interesting thing to try and draw for these little sketches. I've been doing a lot of it for the trading card game. Almost done all the sketch cards. But I did like a new, with the new illustration board that I got. There's like it's so thick. It's like a giga sketch card. I'll probably only put a couple of those into the entire set because they just take so long to cut out. And like I spent almost an hour on the sketch card last night. So those super detailed ones, I'll probably only do a couple for all series 1. Instead of just doing base sketch cards for the entire thing. more fun this way, all right? Project of Passion. What kind of card? I'll show you the different levels of it, I guess. I'm showing Ella today. So there'll be 3 levels of kind of like sketch card that you can get inside the packs. All obviously like hand-drawn stuff. Oh, God, that's not where I want to go. There you go. The first is the normal kind of like Bristol sketch cards that I do, right? And they're on like cardstock, like pretty substantial like Bristol cardstock. But they are, you know, they're cards, right? So they're flexible and stuff, but they're very similar in texture, or not in texture, but in thickness and whatnot to the other cards. Then there are the ones that I'm doing on illustration board. That illustration board is it's not flexible really. It's a thick, like it's board, right? So it's got a kind of like cardboard, chipboard type thing mounted to the front is hot press or cold press like illustration paper. So this is a hot press, so it's smooth. It doesn't have much texture to it. But these ones are a little more substantial, and there's gonna be a bunch of these, and they're obviously much thicker if you compare the two. You know, it's like more or less card thin, and then cardstock or illustration board, so a lot thicker. This wouldn't fit, for instance, in like a proper top loader. And then there are the ones on the watercolor board that I got yesterday, which are about twice as thick, or not yesterday, but the day before. And so these ones are real like pain in the ass to cut out, but they're extremely thick. Like, you remember how much thicker the illustration board was? This is the comparison between them. Hold on. There you go. It's about twice as thick. So they look great. They feel really high-end, really premium. They've got a bit of texture to them. This paper is very expensive for this card stock, or this cardboard, whatever. They're really nice. They're not flexible even in the slightest. And they also have like the company logo on the back of the printer, which is very common with a lot of illustration boards, like very high-end illustration board. So I need to like cover it with a actual piece of like backing for the Eldar cards, which would be cool because I'll do that on the big formal ones. And these ones are, yeah, I'll probably make these ones a pretty rare spawn in the packs. Like maybe out of the 30 sketch cards, I'll do like, I don't know, 15 of these, maybe like 10 or so of these, and then I'll do like probably only 5 of these. I was thinking about also having some of these like sketch cards individually like available. I really like doing them. I was thinking about putting them on my print store because these will fit into big, thick, like card thingies or whatever, like slabs. And so I was thinking I could make a promo series for them, and then just put them on my print store for like, I don't know, whatever. And then people like them, great. If they don't, and they sit there for years and nobody wants to buy them, then they sit there for years until somebody decides to buy them, you know? But I'd like to have original art on my print store. Not original art, but like traditional art on my print store as well, like inks and stuff like that. But it's so hard to do because larger ink pieces are really a pain in the ass. But these cards, like I could put up like X at a time or whatever and number them or something in a series, or make an entirely another like randomized booster of just these or something. I don't know. Like these are fun to do. And so they take a long time, and I can't do too many of them for the card set. Otherwise I'd spend all my time doing these. But I want to make them available because I think they're really cool. They're very satisfying, very, very thick, as opposed to like the regular illustration board. Anyway, back to it. Are there any orcs in the setting of Eldara? That's tricky because similar looking creatures, yes, called the Duceran. The Duceran are tusked orc resembling creatures, but they're not called orcs. I know D&D did some weird shit with orcs recently, like WotC, that people are really unhappy with. I don't know what the whole thing was. Somebody in chat said they made all the orcs Mexican, but that sounded a little I don't know if I believe that. Not sure if they were being offensive or funny or whatever, but then again, I think of things WotC does, and I'm like, would I believe that? I don't know. I know that WotC's been having some issue with orcs. So I'm definitely not calling them orcs, but if you like orcs, there's definitely, you definitely have your Ducerans. That's what like Dashta likes playing, because he always liked playing orcs. Smork. That's why the like Evamble Pog is an orc tusk. It's green though, and they aren't necessarily green in Teleria. That's an emote I made for Dashta, really. It was made out of love from a homie. And his love of Smork. Okay. I'll do a little cloud break here, and then we'll slap this off to the side and start our new runes. The important thing for this is to create the baseline for the runes so that we have like our style guide basically going forward. So I can almost like art direct myself, as well as people who want to build kind of like canon friendly Realms of Eldara stuff. Let's did make a chunk of them Mexican link. He posts art and stream topics, but recently they ruined the lore for the Orcs in Forgotten Realms setting. Wait, what? Must not be loading on stream topics because I only see Steel's thing here. Oh, there we go. Wait, no, fuck. All right, give it a minute. Well, I don't know what that really means, what WotC did, but I guess I'll have to see for myself. Oh, there we go. Wait. Wait, what? Oh, jeez. Okay, cool, I guess. Cool. Sure. Yeah. You got Fat Grandma in there? All right, man. That's okay, WotC. Sure. Let's go, dude. Okay. I'll admit that I don't like the modernity placed in like this character's clothing. I hate this. I hate everything about this. I hate the modern jacket style. I hate the tassels, and I hate the fucking hair. The like modern like 2010 plus hairstyles in D&D, I don't know. Like just short hair, things like this on the kid or whatever. Like this guy's got his hair in a ponytail. You know, like whatever, that's fine. It's kind of all bundled up, but this kind of like the like shaved head, the undercuts, the fjord style undercuts. I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of that in fantasy. It feels like it's I mean it's injecting too much of like, it's kind of like when you have modern like sayings in fantasy, you know, just like terms or phrases that don't really fit in. Like imagine, you know, imagine Geralt's like, Ciri, I killed all the guards. Now we got to go in and find the Banshee. Ciri, are you all right? Are you okay? And she's like, Geralt, 6'7", come on. All right. What the fuck does that mean, Ciri? Ugh. Okay, boomer. Wasn't talking to you, Google. You know what I mean? Like hairstyles like that in modern kind of fashion feel like that to me. It feels like Marvel movie dialogue, but in fantasy where it doesn't fit. I'm not a big fan of that shit. So, Geralt with the shaved hairstyle, yeah. And like a lot of people like that shit, and that's great. You know, if that's the kind of D&D and fantasy you like, then I think that's great. And I hope you have a great fucking time and play the game the exact way you want. And, you know, I defend everyone's ability to play the fantasy that they want. And if you want to have the cool Sombra Overwatch hairstyle, you know, go for it. I guess that's rad. It just definitely doesn't fit into the realms of Eldara, so definitely does not fit into my storytelling. Okay, this is a good enough, I think, representation of our rune structure here. We can kind of put this in the corner here. So where's our Modesto? Modesto. There we go. Eldari ring. Ruins. Ba-boom. Oop. Too big. Are all rune circles? The runic language is composed of circles, yes. But not all Eldari monuments and monoliths. Why will you not rasterize? Rasterize type. There we go. Merge. Down. There we go. So, after this, we have the rest of sort of the runes to draw, the non-ring ones. This is where we need to create like a bit of a style guide for. This is where we need to actually like figure out, like on these cards, what kind of like shapes Eldari rings and Eldari runes can come in. What kind of what sort of like floating rocks basically can we find that are Eldari runes? So that's where we'll go next. Still recording? I'm still recording. Perfect. Okay, perfect. I will be right back though. I'm gonna grab a new water because I've been choking this morning. Holy, I can't speak. I did something at the gym this morning. I just like went out of breath, pushed myself pretty hard on something, and I just like I was sitting there coughing afterwards. I just like couldn't get my breath back, and then I feel like I'm like constantly short of breath this morning now. So I'll go take Ella's inhaler or some shit. Okay, BRB. Alright, let's get it. Let's get it. Do it up, yo. Okay. So a couple of the structure size or shapes that I was gonna try out were there's sort of this like kind of almost like Warcraftian blade style structure that we see. Bit of an exaggerated sort of like point. This kind of like these weird sort of like flares. As well as sort of like weird geometric kind of like hourglasses. It's all very long and sharp. You know, we'll render them out a little bit after. We'll do a couple of them. That's one. Obelisk style. That's one. And then there's kind of these like stretched polygon, whatever. Various different sides and stuff on them. A couple of those. And then one's a little more complicated. We'll get weird on them. We'll do another that's kind of like maybe a bunch of them put together. Not necessarily even either. The spirit doing well, man. Doing well. Hope you're all right, chilling. I'm doing a little concept work today while I record a video. Make a bunch of these shapes and I'll talk about, I think, what different sort of shape design language I can create out of this. Let's put these over here. I'll do a couple of them. I have an idea how we're going to layer this up. A vague idea of how it's going to look. Very arcane kind of non-natural looking shapes. So we'll layer some of these. Oh my god, wait, how did I get so zoomed in? What the fuck? Oh shit. When did that happen? No, my recording. Crap. No idea when that happened. Oh well. Oh well. Oh no, pixels. Okay. So now we can break these all down a little bit. These are basic guides. And then build some sketches out of them. Make them all broken, shattered, slightly destroyed. Because they can be broken. Now, the knights do try and protect the runes from any kind of, like, threats from Talarians. But they weren't always there. There was a whole era of Talarias existence that wasn't guarded by the ancient knights. In the sort of the overall story timeline, the sages would have come around first. And then from the sages, the Lumari sort of came about. The practitioners of the forbidden and dangerous astral magics that the modern knights practice. And then they kind of organize as an order. That's why there's a precedent for Lumari weapons. So, like, even though the story that we did on stream with Fishy, Path of Lumari, that wasn't necessarily a canonical telling. It's still a canonical story that sort of has happened, though. Everything that happened to do with the world building there, Lumari being an existing sort of, like, institution of history, that's all real. Tell lore in short, I was gone for a long time. Lore of what? The runes? We're drawing some ancient runes that are basically left over from the creation of the world. Yeah. That works. That's our TLDR. TLDW? I don't know. Maybe I should be drawing these out as black stone. Maybe I should just be focusing on form. Okay, actually, yeah, that's a bad idea. I'm gonna be here forever if I do that. We shall just break them down to forms, then I can kind of like use a fill layer. That'll be easier. Maybe for like the final sketch I'll go deep on the texture, but for this, nah. Nah, no need to. It can't ever be too symmetrical. Should almost follow a grid line pattern for them. Some minerals, some have very interesting shapes. Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of really cool ones. You ever see bismuth? Oh man. Yeah, minerals is a good reference. It's a good idea. You can kind of build them in different little weird stone shapes here. Okay. You like kind of depths or cavities in them as well. Balance the like sharpness of them and the weird sort of like symmetrical cutting with some like more jagged patterns, like Steel was asking about earlier. And then do the same thing. This also doing like the selection type thing and then roping it off and sketching like inside the line there. This is also better for my hand and my wrist. My finger more than my wrist, I guess. So I can have my pinky extended out while I'm doing that, you know. What's up, Bylong? What's up, Salesian? Good to see you both. That or one that looks like branching. I think it's cork. Kind of like coral-like. Yeah. Dude, why is my keyboard light keep turning off? I got gremlins in this keyboard, man. I need a new keyboard, like, real quick. There's too many goddamn things to replace. Too many supplies required. I don't know enough minerals for that, man. Require more Vespian gas. This works. Oh yeah, man. Also because the texture is kind of like nice that it's uniform. Because the thing is, shadows flatten out a lot of detail, right? When you look at two things in shadow, one of the biggest mistakes is separating them out. Overall shadow shapes, your eye will sort of like create entire shadow shapes and outlines. So if you try and like spread things to like, or detail out, and you draw like individual shadows on individual things and then breaks in between them, like more like dark spots, and you're trying to do depth really, but it's kind of counterproductive in some way, you know. But yeah, bismuth is crazy. I've seen videos of that shit forming. There's like a rock store close to where I live in a city called Banff. Town called Banff. There's like a rock store that I really like, and you can get like fossils and shit there. Get fossils and gems and rocks. I was going to buy, just so you guys know, a crystal orb, but the one that I wanted was like several $100s, and I was like looking at other ones, like, you know, amethyst orbs and shit and quartz. Just so you know, I went to try and buy an orb for you guys. I tried, man. I tried. They're very expensive. They were unbelievably expensive. So I was gonna have an orb to ponder with. Okay. All right, that's the kind of vibe we're going for. Maybe a little more aggressive in our shape design here, but we're the thing is, you have to like sort of to do good concept art like this, you have to sort of take the ideas through all the different steps and layers of them to arrive to the conclusion you want. Even if you like have ideas that sort of like more evolved through, you have to sort of like visually work out the entire step-by-step thing. You can't just like sort of skip to where the good idea starts. You kind of have to start with like the more basic ones, because you might have like misaligned where you're going to start this idea from. I don't know. It's tough to explain. It's tough to explain. Basalt, though. I don't know. I can't think what basalt looks like, Silesian. I'm bad at mineral. You'd think that as a very model of a modern major general, I'd have information both vegetal and mineral. And of course animal. I can't even quote the Kings of England and the facts historical. The Marathon or Waterloo. Can't do it in order categorical, man. Never been well acquainted with matters mathematical. Yeah, I'm done. I promise. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. At least it wasn't more Duran's folk shit. Okay. Counter lucky stars on that one. right? Let's left it out. Maybe like having some more of these, like, I don't know, designs here will also inspire some of the temples that the sages would have made for them. Near Mizukuri, I found some seashell fossils. Oh, cool, yeah. Fossils are rad, dude. There's a national park or a provincial park close to me, and there's a lake there where you can go and find a ton of fossils. You're not allowed to take any with you, but it's fun to like go fossil hunting there. Take pictures of them. I used to do that when I was a kid, and I'd go camping with my dad. We'd go to that lake and we'd go around to where people didn't like come around all that often, you know, the tourists and shit. And we would go fossil hunting. Find all kinds of little sea creatures and shit. Just straight chilling. Little seashells and trilobites and whatever else. There's a lot of fossils where I live in my province, actually. I didn't realize this, but we have one of the most, like, the top fossil dinosaur museums in the world. I wonder if there's, like, a ranking of it. This is a thing. Top Dinosaurus Rex. Let's see. Oh wow, the Royal Tyrrell is listed as #1. Huh. Wow, dude. You mean to say we have the best Dinosaurus Rex fossil museum in the world? Wow, who knew, man? That's cool. Yeah, it's a pretty big museum where I live. It's kind of far away from the city. It is a cool museum. Love trilobites? Trilobites are dope, right? Yeah, if you ever come to Eldaracon in Calgary, Alberta, about an hour and a half east of the city is the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Dinosaurology. They do a lot of dinosauring there. A ton. They have a whole, like, it's like half museum, half like science facility. They have like windows into where they do their like fossil cleaning and shit and research, so you can like see current projects they're working on. It's really cool. If you're not from here, it's a great time. My first time ever at the museum, I did a art contest. It was the first accolade or whatever I ever was recognized for art. It was something for like a 5-year-olds and under or whatever. But it was an art contest to create your own dinosaur, and I won. And I won, guys. And so my dinosaur was up at the gallery at the museum for a year, and then I got it back. And it's somewhere at my mom's, maybe. Unless she threw that shit out. She's like, I'm done with this dipshit. This fucking video game obsessed asshole, he's gone out of my life now. Don't have to worry about his stupid ass shit. The fuck out of here, man. Get your garbage art out of my house. That might be what happened, I don't know. Haven't checked it in a while. I haven't asked the status of my art. That would be one piece from my youth that I'd like to have. Is that one dinosaur that I drew. And there's also a drawing of Goku. When I moved out of my mom's place, it was still hanging in the basement by the TV. I got it framed and shit because it was a really good drawing of Goku. And I don't know, I haven't been back there because, you know, my mom got remarried and it's just like weird, you know? It's like someone else has to kind of like make, you know, obviously someone else has to make that space a home for them, but it just feels like kind of weird and uncanny and eerie going back to that house. So I haven't been back in like a decade and a half, so I don't even know it's still there. I could ask her to go hunting for me, see what art she still has. Eldaracon is at a dino museum? That would be rad, actually, right? First one is the Rainbow Opal. Ooh. Is it like Evan Bull Opal? Is it like that? The Opal Crumb? Because that's like a $3,000 emote right there, you know? Only real G's own Opal Crumbs. I'll just say that much, you know? You want in the Eldara playtests? You better have an Opal Crumb or better. Oh man, you thought the stream wasn't pay to win? You just wait until my first ever Give Me Money-o-thon. You know, I see all these VTubers doing like celebration streams where they have like dono goals. It's like, that's not a celebration. That's you give people, your community giving you money. So I'm just gonna do my first ever dono stream. It's gonna be a dono-thon, but I'm gonna call it a Give Me Money-o-thon. And I'm just gonna shit on my VTuber friends for a solid 4 hours and then go offline. It's a hard igneous stone that forms almost these square edges and can create massive pillars. The deep gray, and there are cliffs and caves of it. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. The 5-year-old, that'd be the best ever. It is. Listen, that was the coolest thing ever for me. Okay. It encouraged me in ways that I shouldn't have been encouraged for doing art. Took a break and made a CAD version of my Live 2D model, and my friend is going to rig it for me, so I made up getting a Live 2D cat model. What? Why, bro? What do you want to be mistaken for a cat? Dude, people are like, cats can't stream. They don't have thumbs. Yeah, what? How's that gonna work out? What do you mean, man? This is not against streamers getting money, but the way they frame it sometimes gives me serious cult vibes. It is funny. Like, it's funny. There was this streamer, this VTuber that recently she got partnered on, well, this is a while ago, maybe months ago. She got partnered on, and she's like in a friend group, so, you know, I can like sort of shit talk. But she got like the partner thing on YouTube where she had like ads and monetization. And she's like, guys, I got partnered on YouTube. We're doing a celebratory dono-thon. In celebration of me being able to make money on Twitch or on YouTube, I'm going to do a stream where you can all give me money. It's kind of funny. Like, I obviously embrace the meme, and like, I have a lot of people that support my stream and will like, you know, hurl bits and subs and stuff at me to help me, you know, do what I do because they like what I do, and that's awesome. I wouldn't be able to stream if it wasn't for the contributions of individuals who choose to sub and, you know, support the stream. Wouldn't be able to do it, right? But not to the same extent that I do it. But like, for me, streaming is a thing where I'm cataloging the process of me doing other things. Like, I just had a big like sale for all of my trading cards. My trading card just released this on last Friday, and it almost sold out. And that's a way that I'd much prefer people supporting me, is like going to my print store and getting something from it. So that's why I was thinking of doing something for bits, like, you know, promo card for bits or whatever, just so people, like, I don't know, just so there's like a reciprocal thing as a thank you, so it's not just like full straight on just hurl here money, you know, which is fair. It makes me feel pretty bad. But I do think a lot of like a lot of streamers do it. The VTubers are, it's very endemic in the VTubing community, I think. The idea of like the give me money-o-thons. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have, maybe I'll do it for April 1st next year. I'll have a give me money-o-thon. And it's gonna be to celebrate me getting money. And I'll get money. So you can go to your job and you can make the money, and then you can give the money to me to make the thing so that I can get the money in the end. Yeah, that's how you stream, right? Oh, man. Yeah. Made his joke, then made it as a model. Well, that's what you gotta deal with. The common story guys, I don't control the ads. Sorry, ma'am. Yes, you do. No, I don't, actually. I don't control my ads, Eric. I don't. My ads happen every hour-ish for 2 minutes at the very least, because if I have that one I got to get behind. Yeah, because if I don't run ads if I don't run 2 minutes of ads every hour, then I have pre-rolls. And you cannot survive on Twitch. You cannot grow on Twitch. No one will watch your stream if there are pre-rolled ads. So look, if somebody's running 8 minutes of ads an hour, it's like, okay. But also at the same time, if you're not paying to be there, like if you're not paying to be there because you're like subbing to a streamer, you don't get to complain if they want to shovel you ads. But also, if you're a streamer and someone doesn't want to watch the fucking ads, you don't get to complain if they leave. Right? So it's both parties can't fucking whine about it. It's a shitty situation. I'd rather Twitch not show any ads on my stream. And so the only way I truly could control if I had ads is if I unaffiliated my channel. But then I also couldn't be subbed to. And I couldn't have bits cheered in my chat. And I lose my emote slots. And I have worse, bit rate. And I have worse, I don't have VODs and stuff. So I would like to say I agree-ish that, like, yeah, you do control the ads. But basically every streamer I know is desperate to run the least amount of ads because they know how much it hurts their stream, right? If I was making like a decent part of my monthly income off of ads, and it's like, okay, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah, I'll run 5 minutes of ads, and I'll run 5 minutes of ads an hour instead of 2 minutes in ads to make an extra $1,000 and be able to pay for my fucking rent. It's like, I get it at that point in time. But the thing is, you kill the experience of stream for people who aren't subbed in your community, which they still do matter. I don't see a class system between subs and non-subs. I do think if you're not sub, you don't get to complain about anything, but that's a meme. That's an old meme. It's not actually serious. But realistically, almost every streamer I know is desperate to not have any fucking ads because it's so disruptive to your experience as a Twitch viewer. It's so unbelievably destructive. So give me money-a-thon for Eldaracon at the Dino Museum. Yeah, I'll figure out how much it is to have a to rent out the, I don't know, can you host events at the Tyrrell Museum? Let's see. Can you host events at the Royal Museum? Yes, you can host events at the Royal Tyrrell Museum, which offer private rentals. The museum is a popular venue for events due to its unique setting and exhibits, meetings and events. Wait. wait, hold up. If this is a thing, that's hilarious. That'd be an amazing idea. To host Eldaracon at the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Dinosaurus Rex in Canada. Seniors Weekend. Wow. Right, because there is a there's a theater there. That's hilarious. We could host the Eldaracon at the Dinosaur Museum. We could host the Eldaracon at Dinosaur Museum. Yep. Not against streamers getting money, but the way they frame it sometimes gives me serious cult vibes. Yes. Yeah. The entitlement to the fact that anyone should pay for what you're doing is annoying for a lot of streamers. 100%. I agree with that. Yeah. Yep. Sure, guys, I don't control it. Yeah. Where was I? Chat. Give me money. Thon is this. I don't have the only app thing. The what? OnlyFans? I don't know what you're talking about. Not against the ads, but putting the ads in the streamer is putting ads is a streamer's choice. People have to understand that. Putting ads is a streamer's choice. No, you can't run zero ads as a streamer on Twitch. There's no way to run zero ads unless you give up your affiliate, which you give up a lot of other quality of life things. So that's not true. There's no way, I can't choose to not run ads on my channel. If I could, I would, right? If I could keep my affiliation on Twitch and not run ads, I absolutely would. So no, that's not entirely true. Ads are getting weird on YouTube. I got one UR and had no skip button. A minute ad? I'm confused. Could have found a sticker or something. People can stick those on their PCs or laptops to decor. They want to see each time. They see each time you stream if they want. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. I learned the Dino Museum would be cool. The problem is the Dinosaur Museum is a little bit far out. So the problem is if I were to so if this is in Alberta, this right here is in Alberta. This is in Edmonton. And this is a Calgary. So I live close to this city, right? There's mountains here. All right. So I live close to the city. So you can drive an hour and a half this way, and that's where the Dino Museum is. Or you can drive an hour and a half this way, and this is where the castle in the mountains is. So if I have people flying for Eldaricon to the international airport in Calgary, Alberta, the problem is if I make people drive an hour and a half out of the city to the castle in the fucking mountains, then that's cool. Right? Because there's stuff to do there. There's mountains. It's fucking castles and towns and shit. And this is close to where I live anyway. So this is close to me anyway. But the Dino Museum, you get an hour and a half out this way and you're now in the middle of fucking nowhere. You're in the cool Badlands desert of Alberta, which is actually kind of rad. But now you're in the middle of absolutely fucking nowhere, which sucks. So yeah, it's far out of this world. Oh shit. Oh shit. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's good. It's a good visit, honestly. I recommend people, like, it's one of those things that's like, does anybody like, who doesn't like dinosaurs? Everybody likes dinosaurs. Is it worth going to Calgary just for like Dinosaurus Rex Museum? Probably not, you know, but anyone who's like in Calgary, it's like, you know, for any reason, like you can go to like the best dinosaur museum in the world, maybe depending on who you ask, and say, huh, neat, I did that. Right? You know? I see you only control ad frequency. I really thought you put them off. Some streamers say they do, but I guess you get a bare minimum. So you can pause your ads and... Okay, so here's how it works. So if you don't run an ad every hour, you will get pre-roll ads, which means that the second somebody hits your channel, they get an ad regardless. And then they get served an ad whether you want them to or not every so often. So you as a streamer can automatically, you can slide your, there's a scale slider, right? There's a scale slider you can move that basically says you can choose between pre-roll ads or mid-roll ads. Okay. And so mid-roll ads, you can delay it. So there's a button I can click. I don't have it on set on my OBS, but let's say I was talking about something very important and I saw a little countdown timer that said there's going to be an ad in 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I want to finish my thought. I can delay the ad. I can put it off for a couple minutes or whatever. Like I can delay it by 15 minutes. But the problem is then it's going to say, okay, now we're going to serve pre-roll ads and force the other ads into your stream. So no, you don't get to control that, unfortunately. You can control, like I could run 10 minutes of ads an hour if I wanted to. I could have, you know, like an ad every what, like 8 minutes or something like that for a minute, or I could do 10 minutes of ads at the top of the hour if I wanted to, you know, and I don't because that's shitty. But no, you can't actually control whether or not your channel, like I said, the only way you can not have any ads is if you unaffiliate your channel, which means that you get a shittier stream quality. The experience is worse. You don't get emotes. You don't get VODs. You don't get a lot of stuff. So it's like basically not worth, you know. So no, unfortunately, like because the ads are so disruptive, I would happily kill ads on my stream if I could and not lose my affiliate. But unfortunately, that is not the way Twitch works. And I would kill for them to switch it around. But Twitch is having an issue right now where they don't make any money. Like, maybe it's something else people didn't know. Twitch has never been profitable. Twitch has never actually made money. It's never in the entire, since they bought it from Justin TV, Twitch TV has never had a year that it's profitable. Ever. Ever. It's never been profitable. Not even once. So Amazon uses it as a loss leader for other things and for God knows what reason they keep Twitch, but Twitch is desperately trying to figure out how to monetize better. That's why they take so much of your sub. That's why they do so many things with the ads. And I feel like it might get worse. So, you know, that's why I think multi-streaming is so important. So you're not stuck in one place. It's just easier that way too. There's very little control streamers have over ads. The reason there's this cult-like stuff happening is because all of them are forced to have ads even though they don't want them. So streamers apologize. Sure. Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's a complicated problem, man. It's an issue. But also worrying about it just too much distracts from what I'm doing, so I ain't that concerned. Just do my thing, you know? Blaze knows. In a hostage situation? Yeah, kind of. I mean, hostage might be a little bit aggressive. It's not like I have to stream on Twitch. I can at any point in time decide that I want to just not. If it's really that bad. But I'm not a content creator or anything, so streaming on Twitch is for me, it's part of cataloging process. It's not the process entirely, you know? Big difference. We'll see what happens when the Give Me Money-o-thon rolls around. Let's go, dude. We'll find something like to celebrate like that VTuber did. Maybe we'll do a welcome back Cinder subathon. Oh, that's so good. Oh, I'd make so many of my VTuber friends upset. Oh, that'd be worth it though. That would be worth it. The fucking welcome back Cinder subathon. Oh my god. Dude. Holy shit. Look, I think it's funny, alright? I'm amused, okay? Maybe some banana stalks. Wait, what? Banana stalks. It sounds like some Relician for the gob monkey type shit right there. I like it. Oh, shoot. I need to draw a crumb, don't I? For one of the cards. Ooh, because I was going to do a secret rare crumb. That's right. I was going to do that. Because the current crumb was going to be the secret rare and I was going to have a base one. I can't believe I forgot about that. I went through the alpha and beta prints without getting it done, man. Oh my god. All right. Getting our shapes done, yo. Am I still recording? I am still recording. Pog champion. Pog champion. Do some like glowy ass looking runes as well. Just unnatural stone shapes, all right? This is important. Monoliths, as they say. So the only thing with the Eldari runestone, it's like I said, the rules are easy to make. I can make the rules about the rings for the most part. I think I'm not going to answer the questions about the Astral Knight Temple, though. You know, I think the Astral Knight Temple is going to be sort of like it's going to kind of exist outside the realm of what it is that the Eldari runes sort of are known for in the world, because I want there to be kind of like a standard understanding of them and a standard lore. And if you ask anyone in the field of astral sagecraft, they will have a very particular and finite but solid understanding of what they're like what they do. But the temple that the knights occupy is going to be a bit of an oddity that I suppose not even many astral sages will know about. Because if the temple is supposed to be sort of a secret order, kind of almost like secretive, not secret, but secretive, within the sages' realm, it's more or less invite only. Like, there's no real way to get into that valley unless you sort of like know the trick man. Gotta slap the fucking right bricks in Diagon Alley or some shit, or speak the Elvish word for peepo happy and enter. So the temple can be a mystery, partially in some ways because the temple is outside of the accessible sphere that the astral sages can get into. So I think that like even some astral sages probably wouldn't know an astral knight if they saw one. That's probably reasonable. They wouldn't necessarily know a knight if they saw one. So the fact that their temple is made of Eldari runestone in a lot of places would help kind of add to maybe some of the mystery. That there's like this strange rule-breaking area where the valley is in a consistent storm and you know a rainless storm, as they call it, and there's sort of like monoliths and monuments, which really begs the question then, like, how do they construct the temple, and did they find it or did they build it? And I think I want those kind of questions to be a bit of a mystery. Like, there's something really valuable, I think, in mysterious origins of long-standing institutions. Like, there's sort of like value in that, you know? There's value in being able to say, like, we don't really know who founded the order or when, but all we know has been around for like several thousand years since the Lumari broke from the sages or whatever. They kind of went off on their own. And having that kind of like mystery in there is sort of also a place that DMs and storytellers can like sort of tell their own stories. Because there's like two levels of sort of art direction for Eldara. There's the canonical and there's the non-canonical. And then like the master, you know? It's like the master storytelling canon is the stuff that I directly tell stories about. But like there's also going to have to be this like canonical kind of like expanded universe, as it were, where it's like I can hire Atari to write a book. I can hire a comic artist to make a graphic novel set in Eldara, you know, and I can have people telling these kind of like Eldaran stories that fit within the world or with the kind of story they want to tell within Eldara. With Eldar as the background for it, hopefully being a really good place to tell stories about, you know, people and understanding themselves and you know, understanding the human experience, as it were. And important sort of like metaphorical stories that really like teach people about who they are and shit. That like we all loved and learned from when we were young. And so with that, that's like the master canon. Every time like I open my mouth on something, it's gonna be as Eldara grows as a project, it's going to be harder and harder in recognizing for me to change my mind about things. I can say that when I'm working on something in stream, that there's not necessarily like this thing is canon or whatever. This is not like the end design for it. And people can kind of respect that it's like part of the process. But I think once I publish something, it's going to be very difficult for me to sort of like say, oh, hey guys, actually I realized that wasn't a great idea. So whoops, teehee, I'm redoing it and we're launching the Astral Knight class or whatever. You know what I mean? That part's going to be more difficult. Then there's the kind of the canon that you sort of will read or whatever, or experience, or that's like the video games or the adventures that I don't write, things that I don't do that are still like Eldar projects in the future that are going to be things that I have to sort of kind of like sign off on as like, yeah, this is all, someone can read the story that I wrote, someone can read the story that you wrote, and both inform the reader into more understanding of what the world is all about. And that needs to be like locked in, dialed in, canonical. But it's slightly easier to tweak that than like there's a certain like disconnect with like, oh well, like you know, oh that's Dave Filoni's Star Wars versus George Lucas's Star Wars, or that's Christopher Tolkien's writing versus, you know, J.R.R. Tolkien's writing. And so having that break is still canonical, but it's like it's kind of, you know, it kind of like meddles with it a little bit. So it's like still it's the same tier, but it's one level down from like the actual writer. What's up, Fel? So with let me get my thought here, then I'll just edit this out. Levels of canon, what would I want to talk about? Because I don't want to be too long-winded in the video. Right, okay. So then there's a third level of canon down that's kind of the lower layer of canon that players can have in their own game. So that is like the canon that's like your table canon, your head canon. But the thing is, like, a head canon is sort of like more powerful and profound in Eldara. There's an intent that then you can sort of have a very base view of a framework that you can sort of go off and tell a story in, that knowing that probably you have boundaries that doesn't really interfere. So the example might be, let's say you're telling a story in Star Trek, and you're going to create your own Star Trek aliens and your own Star Trek world and your own Star Trek crew of whatever. And you know, you can kind of create a Federation ship and they can fight Romulans and shit, and they can go to this world and there's, I don't know, dudes with fucking horns sticking out of their eye. And that's cool. And you know that you kind of like have this framework you can bounce around in, and nothing that happens in your world really, in your canon of Star Trek, really needs to affect, you know, the Star Trek that you love, the TV shows or whatever, the movies. And then also those things don't really step on your canon for your story. You know what I mean? And so there has to be a very clear outline so that players can go tell their own stories, and then DMs can tell their own stories. So they have 3 levels of canon, really 2, but if we're going to be picky, 3 levels of canon that sort of interact with each other in a positive way. Okay. That was too long-winded, but I'll edit it down. All right. So if I've locked in my new MOG design for Midnight Beta in a couple of minutes, dude. The beta starts like, oh wait, no, servers are up, aren't they? Or did they delay it? Dude, I was so excited. I want to see Silver Moon so bad. I want to go run around. I think I have beta access. I'm pretty sure. Actually, hold on. Do I have beta access? Beta access? I should. In development, Midnight Beta. There it is. Fuck yeah, dude. Oh man, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good weekend. I'm gonna do some romps, man. I'm gonna go see some shit. That's fucking rad. Oh hell yeah. I'm gonna go start messing around with a house like tonight probably. Cause I'm assuming like everything is kind of like built into it right now. You don't have to wait for housing or whatever for beta, right? Iceberg cannon, where all above the water is cannon, all the others down below the water. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I imagine you have a lot of table cannon, Atari. But that's the thing, is that I want it to be the kind of thing where it's like the version of the world that you tell a story about is a world that's persistent. That I want Eldar to be a framework that you can take what you like or don't like about it. So there's kind of multiple levels of interaction with Eldar, engagement for stories. So there's like the very kind of like lowest level, which is awesome. By the way, I'm not saying lowest isn't like bad, but the very lowest level of engagement with Eldar, where a DM says, that's a cool dungeon, or that's a cool class, or like, yeah, okay, I'm going to pull that in my world. Like, yeah, sure, the Horizon, it's a floating island in Eldara, but that's maybe even a little bit more. It'll be more like in pulling in a class or a monster, something that I create that's mechanical for the world. Yeah, it's like, yeah, sure. The Alabaster Consortium could be a organization in my game. That's pretty cool. So that's the like lowest level. Then there's the next level up where people are kind of like taking from, I think, Eldara in a major way and putting it in their own world and saying, sure, I love the idea of the Shattered Sea, Horizon. I'm going to run their adventure for Horizon in my world, but the Shattered Sea is only a part of like my greater world. So like my aliens and like three-headed frog dudes are all gonna be wandering around, and you know, it's gonna be cool. So we'll take Evan's silly adventure and I'll make it in my like as a framework for me to build my own into my adventure. Then there's people that want to like sort of go to Eldara and kind of be like something, it would look something like my party is gonna go on the Horizon adventure, and so they're gonna step through a portal and step into Eldara, do this adventure, and then okay, see you later, stepping back into their world. They had to get some MacGuffin or whatever, and they go back to there, you know. So that is then like them using and stepping in and out of Eldara and taking what they want from it, but going to Eldara. And there's kind of the top level where the second from the top level is people who are playing in Eldara. And so it's like every time I release a new adventure, we play in Eldara. Every time I create something for it, it's like, great, wow, boys, we got a new Eldara adventure to play every 6 months or whatever, ideally. Let's go play through that for a month and a half, and then I guess we'll just put these characters on ice until the next Eldara adventure is out. And that's awesome. And then there's the top sort of level of interaction with Eldara, where you run a game in Eldara, and you are utilizing the campaign guide and like, oh, Evan wrote lore about this place, let's go explore that. And that's more like how you'd play like D&D in an existing setting, like Azeroth, like Star Wars, like Mass Effect, whatever it is that you want to pick, Game of Thrones. And so you're going through and playing your characters through the world based on what's written about it. And that's the idea of the campaign guide. So you can do that. People do it with Critical Role with Wildmont, and the Explorer's Guide to it, or maybe Araman, the new one. And then there's like, I guess, the brewing you can do in there. And so for people that play the game that way, I want there to be space and room so that your table canon of like, dude, there's this island floating off in the corner of the Shattered Sea that's just all giant Amazons and snoo, just death by snoo. So you guys want to go to the island and try and sell them a NFTs or whatever? It's like, all right, man, go have your fun, And then your little island doesn't step on any toes for existing canon, so players who like the canon can sort of stay within it and friendly to it. But then also when I tell a story, it's not like I would ever tell a story of the Shattered Sea being destroyed. So you're like, no, my island of Amazonian NFT collecting snoo, like, oh god, what do I do? So there needs to be sort of different levels of that, I think, that I need to take into account for. So I think that's where I'm like, that's where my headspace is at with kind of trying to accommodate players of all different varieties for the realms, is ensuring that they are able to play, to pull what they want into their own game, or to go dive fully into Eldara. Now, obviously, the diving in the deep end of Eldara, that's going to require other things that pull people in, because who's going to play a game in a setting? And this is one I think is the problems with world building for the sake of world building. Or maybe a mistake. I don't mean to criticize anyone who does this, okay? I know there's been some big projects, especially with friends of mine, people that I know who have recently done this. I don't mean to criticize them. I think it's awesome. But my problem with the idea of here's a setting you can play in, like there's been some big Kickstarters recently. It was like, hey, we've created a setting for you to play game in. The problem with that inherently, I think, is it's world building for the sake of world building. Without something that is a hook that pulls you into the world, I don't think people give a shit about cool settings. Tolkien could have created Middle Earth and Arda. He could have created Middle Earth, Arda, the entirety of the Lord of the Rings realm. He could have created that as a D&D setting. He could have wrote the entire appendices. He could create the languages and do all the other stuff. And would anyone care? And the answer is absolutely, unequivocally, no one would give the slightest hint of a shit, because there's nothing to do there. There's nothing to see. You create a massive theme park, but you don't let anyone wander into it. What's the point, So that's why I think a lot of the settings for setting's sakes are an issue. And so for Eldara, the theory then is to create an adventure that hopefully the idea is the adventure is it, man. The adventure needs to stand on its own 2 feet. What's up, Maggie? The adventure needs to stand on its own 2 feet. If the adventure cannot stand on its own feet, then the rest of the setting is going to collapse. And there's no reason people to want to play in there. In addition, having something like a comic book set in it, a video game, whatever, you know, like, is the League of Legends setting really all that inspiring? You know, I don't know. Maybe it's a good setting, I think, but I think they were developing it sort of like as they go, and so it became a good setting. I don't know if the League of Legends setting started out good. So creating something that's like really like perfectly crafted that you can play and write canon, and that's great. That's important. But I think that we need to also have places for people to sort of jump in and start chewing on it and getting stories. That's why the novel's being written, or the novella, I guess, the short stories, whatever we're gonna call it. That's why it's being written. That's why I want to do the small little video game project in it, because there's got to be something else that's inherently useful or valuable about the proposition of Eldara for your time, other than just come and learn about the setting and start playing in it. You know, maybe the thing that I could think of that's maybe the closest to that, and this might be a really bad example or maybe the perfect example. There's no in between. This is either the best or worst example ever, and that's Warhammer. Because yes, Warhammer has video games. Yes, Warhammer has books. I don't believe it started like that. It's kind of a minis game, and you're like, what's this cool dude with the sword all about? Oh, that's a Black Templar dude. Oh my god, they have swords and guns, and you're like, oh, holy shit, dude. So there's like the proposition of the Warhammer universe is kind of like, here's lore for lore's sake, and obviously they've evolved it and built something really cool out of it. And now, you know, there are people who are fully fledged Warhammer fans, depending on how neckbeardy the person you ask, fully fledged Warhammer fans that don't play the minis game. They're like, I'm a lore nerd. I read the books and I play the games and stuff and whatever. I don't do anything. I just like to watch fucking 8-hour lore videos on YouTube, and that's fine too. But that might be the only project that I can think of that is the closest to being lore for lore's sake without a proposition of value for entertainment being put onto it. Because not a lot of people that I know that are lore fans, especially there's been a really big thing in the VTubing community recently. A lot of the VTubers like Glitchtars, they did like lore videos and stuff like that, which was awesome. There's been Space Marine 2 got a lot of people into lore videos. A lot of React streamers were doing lore stuff, which is fucking sick, because then they're learning about the thing that they think is cool. They're like, oh, Space Marine's rad. Tell me about Primaris Marines. And their communities are like, hey, this is pretty cool lore. So in that way, it is lore for lore's sake, because there's people who are interested in the 40k universe or the Warhammer universe that don't play the minis game, that aren't reading the books, that don't play a video game, and they just think it's cool, and they just watch lore videos. So that maybe is the closest thing to that like extreme end of propositional, kind of like no entertainment in the proposition of why my thing is cool. It's just lore for lore's sake. But that might be the only thing that's like even remotely close to that that's successful. Any other project I think that is just setting for setting's sake, lore for lore's sake, and world building for world building's sake. I think world building is very fun, but it's ultimately pretty self-indulgent. If you're just doing it like, who cares what your language is? Who cares about your cool like lore? Fuck. Like you know, the statistical no one does, and so there has to be something attached to it that's useful. I think it's like a worthwhile thing to do. I'm good, Maggie. I'm chilling. I'm attempting to record a video today about the construction and creation of Astral Knight temples as a design thing. So we're doing. I'm recording a couple of hours of footage. I'm gonna try and edit it down and see if I can make an actual YouTube video out of it. So today is all about discussing lore and theory on concept art and shit. So. It's a good one. I'm enjoying my time today. All right, I'm having a good day. I'm having a busy week. It's been hard to find time to stream, so I'm enjoying the time that I do have. Because I won't be live tomorrow. Just a reminder, I won't be live tomorrow. I have, unfortunately, another fucking appointment tomorrow morning, right in the middle of the morning stream time. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just start streaming in the evenings sometimes when I feel like it. It's not like I'm like worried about okay, why streamers not like streaming in the evenings? It's a superstitious thing about like, oh, my numbers will go down and people won't know when I'm streaming, and I'll just randomly be streaming outside my stream hours, and like my partner push. But like, I don't care about that right now, you know. So maybe I'll just stream in the evenings when I'm back from, you know, appointments and shit. I don't know. Maybe that's the way to do it. So Sounds super interesting. Yeah, it's this is my favorite shit to do for Eldara is like this building kind of like concept development stuff. So it's been hectic for me also recently. Oh man, I hope you're getting some time to relax and reset the old brain, as it were. You know, Maggie, I'm so excited tonight. I put down, speaking of 40k, I put downstairs this morning, I put 2 Warhammer models. I put down a Venerable Dreadnought for me and a Storm Surge battlesuit for Ella. And so tonight we're gonna watch Star Wars or listen to Star Wars on the TV or some shit. Maybe there's a hockey game actually. Ella will probably want to listen to a hockey game and build Warhammer. No screens, nothing for like 3 solid hours, dude. You gotta give that brain some reset, you know. Yeah, it's important, I think. So hope you find some time to relax. And I don't know, every single time I've been off of work during the week, past 3 months, something has come up. You haven't streamed, so I'm glad I got to watch the past couple days. Yeah, I'm sorry about all the breaks and stuff. You know, I don't want to. I think streamers sometimes whine too much on stream. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter why I'm not streaming. It doesn't matter how good or bad the excuses or whatever. If I'm not live and it's like, okay, well, I don't give, you know, fucking Evan, I sub to you. Why the fuck aren't you on when you're on, you know, when you say you're gonna be on? So I really feel bad about it. But last couple months has been extremely difficult for me. You know, there's been some challenges in the family and whatnot, and some medical issues that I've had to step up for, and some responsibilities and whatnot. So like when I was so happy at the beginning of the year when I was able to just stream for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. I didn't have to be anywhere, dude. I didn't even have any meetings or work stuff. I didn't have any projects ongoing besides Eldara stuff and like the occasional commission. I was just streaming and chilling and working hard and just focused. And I'm trying to get back there. November is going to be a bit hectic as well, but December is starting me into the long winter snooze where I'm just going in on it, man. I told everybody that like I had a couple things that I'm agreeing to do in Christmas, and barring, like, hoping, crossing fingers, no one gets sick and everything stays good and the family's healthy and happy and whatnot. I'm just, dude, December, January, February, March, I'm going into the tank again, and we're just gonna stream like fucking 6 days a week, like 60 hours a week. It's gonna be, dude, it's gonna be glorious. I can't wait. So yeah, I'm sorry for the streams being weird and spotty recently, and I feel bad, but obviously I'm not going to get into it because nobody cares. But it has been a really, really tough last couple of, you know, anxiety levels never been higher kind of thing. So I was like, you know, let's just chill on stream. So I appreciate you guys. You guys are my break from the unfun parts of life recently. So I appreciate y'all. Try to relax, but life's been hectic. Or was I? Okay, not a matter of you or not streaming. Life comes first, and you need to do what you need to do. It's just the timing. Yeah, that's fair. I do still feel bad because like the more focus, the more time I'm able to have on like for stream and stuff, the better I feel. Because this is me doing this stuff. This is me doing my dream stuff, like Eldara. This is it. This is important to me. This is the most important shit to me right here. Is this stuff, like figuring this out. This is my life's work, man. Like just think, like I'm so greedy and ambitious with my future that like I think about things in a lifetime worth of like, and I'm counting on things working out the way I want them to work out. Now, obviously, I'm not arrogant in thinking that I can achieve with the things that I'm planning on trying to do, but I have to like at least believe it's possible. So I have to treat everything I do with the possibility of it being like as successful as I want to be. And so, you know, when I look at the future and I think about what is Eldar going to look like in 50 years, I think it'd be really cool if there's a lot of like cataloged like early days. Like imagine Tolkien was like blogging his writing process of Lord of the Rings. You know, imagine George Lucas was able to do like live streaming his writing or some shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the next generation of like amazing projects, the next Star Wars, the next Star Trek, the next Lord of the Rings, the next Dune, the next like big things like this. I feel like there's an opportunity. You know what's a great example is Brandon Sanderson talks about his process all the time. He makes videos. He like does lectures and shit. He you know, and he's cataloging it, and that's really cool. And so I want to be there cataloging it all the time. I want to always be, you know what I mean? I always want to be like present and able to really put the more amount of time into it. And like I like taking breaks and doing things like fan art and whatever, but you know, I tune evening streams. Yeah, I think I want to do evening streams, Salesian. They'd have to be at a weird time though for me. They'd have to be at like, it would start probably at like 6 or 7 my time and go until like 9 or 10 my time, which it's 1 p.m. Oh shit, it's 1 p.m. my time. Oh Jesus! Oh God! Wait! Oh my God! Okay. Yeah, time's been going. All right. Sick. We've just been jamming. We've just been doing stuff. But yeah, evening streams are they're fun. Maybe I should just start going live in the evenings when I feel like it, and just I don't know, just jam and do whatever. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really want to stream. And I also feel bad because I know people support the stream, people want to see the projects, and people are subbed, and I feel bad when I'm not streaming a lot and people are like subbing and stuff. That's a real feels bad kind of moment. So, yeah, we're in mid-November. We are in mid-November already, Nick. That's the thing. It's like already the 11th. Well, it's Remembrance Day today, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. We are already at the 11th, and that means I have a couple of weeks then to get a lot of stuff done. And if I can just solidly make sure that everyone in my family is fucking happy and healthy, and I don't have to be going to fucking hospital appointments constantly and visiting people shit and doing whatever and the whole thing and specialists, and it's just been an exhausting process of taking care of somebody you care about that's having some health struggles. That's been exhaustive. But if I can just that's mostly chilling, things are good. Yeah, then I can just sort of relax, go into the tank, shut my hatch, and just whatever. So not be parasocial, but I care. I appreciate that, Maggie. I really do. That means a lot. It does. But I just feel like when I say by that, but nobody gives a shit, is like at the end of the day, it's like if my stream's not interesting, doesn't matter if like somebody in my family's sick or whatever. It's like if I'm not providing value to your life, it's like you're not gonna, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean. As I feel bad about that. All right. Good luck, Azalea. Whatever you're doing, dog, today with those errands, go do it with pride and dignity. You're a superstar. Get after it. Yeah, I gotta go do some errands today as well at some point in time. But I've got an important meeting. I've got a little Discord call for a very important project in sooner than I thought. I didn't realize there's already one. Which was requested last night, and I said, yes, sir, I'll be there whenever you need me to be. So I gotta go do that. So wish me luck. Wish me luck on my Discord call for important things that I can't talk about just yet. I'm gonna be signing contracts, man. Big things are happening. So I'm gonna end the recording there. We got through what I wanted today, which was the shape design language part of the video. So I'll take the recording, maybe I'll edit it down, and then I'll figure out what I need to do for the next stage of the recording, and then we'll record the next part of it, the next component, later this week. Won't be live tomorrow though, because I have a fucking appointment I gotta go take somebody to right in the middle of the morning. But maybe I'll be live tomorrow night. I don't know, maybe I'll just say screw it and just start turning on the stream whenever I feel like it. Treat it like the alt channel or something, That's right, the main channel will be on TikTok, and this will be my alt stream that I just do whatever I want on. I'll play games, bro. All right, cool. Thanks for chilling, man. I will see you guys tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Thursday, with hopefully good updates for cool things, if I can talk about cool things. Haven't really wanted to spoil much on this one, so whenever things happen, I'll be involved in a pretty interesting project I was asked to maybe consider for next year. This last week, 2 weeks ago, and then it's gotten ramped up, gotten very serious very quickly, so we'll see. But man, it's crazy when people that are like doing important stuff know who the fuck I am and ask me about doing stuff for them in the future. It's a wild experience, man. So yeah, I'm very excited. I have a lot of cool stuff coming up that I'd like to just get up to and focus on. Anyway, these cards are fucking thick as shit, dude. This is rad. I'm so glad that I found this stuff. It's hard to cut through, but all the updates in the cards. Maybe I'll do a little video update or something, post in the Discord. Either way, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Hope whatever you're doing is productive. Have a good Remembrance Day. Whatever you do for Remembrance Day. If you're Canadian, get your poppy on. I don't have mine on stream because I don't want to just slice into my skin. God, I need to get a pin for my poppies. so I'm not just constantly jabbing myself with a skewered needle. Americans have no idea what I'm talking about, I don't think. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day, great night, whatever you're doing. Peace. See you later. Be good. Do the thing. Crush the dreams, goals. The video of the Japanese guy in the water screaming, "You can do it," or Shia LaBeouf from a couple of years ago screaming, "You can do it." Either one. Never give up. All right. See you guys later.